have mercy, look at how the time goes.
3, 2, 1, and we are live. Hey, Miss Tiffany.
Hey, John.
Sitting here across from me. You know what? We are so cute. I think I should have filmed this. That's another thing I want to do. Before we went live, we were talking about, the foolishness and sitting around and saying, I should do this. It's about just doing it.
Just do it, baby.
Well, I tell you, I have a fancy camera, some kind of a Canon, something or another, and I'm scared to death of
Why?
technical things.
Baby, I'm in IT.
Computers, technical things.
I'm in IT. I can help you.
I think I'm going to be asking for that help because if we have a camera and I am supposed to be filming these things.
Oh, you should be.
And I should just do it.
You definitely should do it.
Maybe if we have time afterwards, you can show me.
I will show you. We'll fix that sorted. We'll get it sorted.
So here we are. This is the Comin Home podcast. I am your host, and I'm sitting here with Miss Tiffany Trautman.
Hello.
She is, I don't know, what can I say about this young lady? Now, we have met face-to-face one time before. You came out to, I think it was the very first. It was the very first stand-up show that I did, actually.
It was amazing. I came out to your premiere. I was so stoked to come out to your premiere. And I brought my girls with me, and we traveled all the way out there.
That was,
and I was so proud of you. It was amazing.
It was a lot of fun.
But I can tell you right now, as a previous stand-up comedian before, I felt your nerves that first day.
Okay.
Oh my God, I felt it all in me. But you did so well, and you stuffed it down.
Yeah,
and
I was a little shaky. I was a little shaky the first couple of minutes.
Honey, the first couple of minutes, but then you got it, and then you snagged it. There was something clicked in you, and it was amazing to watch.
Well, you know what I found out? I don't know. I've been on the mic maybe 10 times since then. And it's always the same thing. That first minute and a half, I'm scared to death.
Fuck yeah.
I can feel my whole body shaking.
Yeah.
It's probably coming out in my voice. And it always takes that first laugh. As soon as somebody, it can only be one person, but as soon as I make somebody out there laugh, I'm in.
And you're in, and you're rolling through it.
Yeah.
So once you get that first laugh, then you know you're in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And then you just keep rolling. But I even after many years, I'm still terrified going up on stage because you don't know what your crowd is, and especially here in Norway, I can't even imagine what you go through because in the States, I know what the humor is there, but does it translate?
But see, I don't. Yeah. I can. Here's the weird thing about me. Now, I've been living in Norway for almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. This summer it'll be exactly 18 years in June.
Sorry.
18, yeah. you feel my pain.
I feel it.
No, so 18 years in Norway, and when it comes to music, I'm also a musician. When it comes to music, I am so cut off. I don't know what is good in the States anymore. Yeah. I mean, I can turn on the radio here in Norway, and they'll play some of the hits in the States, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good just because it's on the top of the charts. So I have totally... It's like when Australia ripped off from the rest of the world and all those weird developments of animals and stuff on Australia. That's how I feel when it comes to creativity, whether it's music or stand-up.
You're a man without a country.
I'm a man without a country.
You're a man without a country.
And we can joke about that, but there is something about that.
There is a lot to that.
I'm doing okay here.
You're doing great here.
Well, thanks. I'm doing okay, but there's a big hole in my very essence.
I feel that.
Because I'm not at home. I'm here, but this isn't home.
But here's the thing. When you go back home, does it feel completely like home anymore? That's my problem. When I go back home and I go and I travel and I see, I don't necessarily see my family, but I do go and see my friends because those are the family that I've chosen. And when I go, it feels like I haven't missed a beat, but on the same sense, they're talking about things that I don't understand, like taxes on their house. Yeah. And, I left in the Bush era. You know what I mean? Yeah. I left in the Bush administration, so all that Obamacare.
What year did you come?
I came to Norway in 2007.
2007, yeah.
Yeah. So
I came in 2002, so.
See, so we've been here for a hot minute, so we missed all that Obama stuff.
Well, Obamacare, the whole health insurance thing scares the living daylights out of me.
Me too.
I think I made a post in the Americans in Norway group just a couple of days ago. Help yourself. Drink your coffee there.
I need coffee.
If people hear silverware clinking and stuff like that, let them hear it.
All right. It's a family affair.
We're just sitting here at home. What was I going to say? Yeah, that whole thing with healthcare. I can't criticize or support the situation because I don't understand it.
I don't either.
When I left, I was a cop at the time. I think I paid $100, maybe $120 a month, and I had health insurance.
Yeah.
I don't know any more than that.
No.
And now there's this thing with Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. You have to sign up. Do you have a choice of doctors or don't you?
Pre-existing conditions. What is
that? I still hear these horror stories.
Mm.
Now, there's some people that are a little bit more to the right in the political spectrum who try to tell me that anything that Trump were to come up with would be better than the Affordable Care Act. I can't see that.
No.
I just can't see that.
I think personally, this is my personal humble opinion.
Let's hear it. And don't be humble.
Okay, all right. This is my big ass opinion. My opinion is that it seems like what we have here in Norway. Listen, I've broken my back here in Norway. I've had back surgery.
Right.
It was free. I've had 2 back surgeries actually that were free. I've been injured so many times, and I am not swimming in debt from medical bills.
Well, I try to talk when I get into little discussions and debates with friends and acquaintances back in the States, and that is one thing that I do tell them because they come up with the S word, socialism.
Socialism, and that's a scary. Oh my God, so scary.
First of all, I think there's a difference between pure socialism and democratic socialism.
Yes.
Or social democracy, whatever you call it. I think that here in Norway we have what we could call a social democracy. And within that social democracy, we pay a little more taxes, but we're not going bankrupt because we get sick.
Do we pay that much more taxes?
Well,
here's the truth. Here's the thing, in Florida, where I come from Florida, my income tax is 22%.
Yeah.
Now I come here to Norway, and my income tax is 22%. Now, granted, I pay way more taxes on all the fun stuff, like cigarettes and sugar and all that stuff, the
gas and all that.
But that's my choice.
Sure.
And if I want all that sugar, and God damn it, I do.
Yeah.
I will go and pay the tax for it, but that tax
so it's
goes
not,
towards...
it's not like the government is imposing that tax on you. Those are choice taxes.
These are choice taxes. These are sin taxes.
Exactly.
That's what they call it, sin tax.
Exactly.
If you want to buy booze, it's a little expensive.
You sinful little devil woman.
I know,
Look
if you want to be a little naughty. But I'm a little naughty, so I don't mind paying for a child getting their, stent in or whatever it is of the kidneys, because it's like a community. I don't know. I don't see that big gap either here with the financial thing. I was working as
the gap between the rich and poor.
Yes, not just the gap, but the view of the gap. Like I know in the stateside, when I was younger, I worked in a grocery store. And I would go out with my friends who were engineers and stuff, and they would, I wouldn't say they would look down on me, but she just works at a grocery store. Yeah. And so there's kind of like a status view of what you work at. But then I came here to Norway, and I worked at a grocery store, and I hung out with somebody who was a nurse, and nobody looked at us any different.
Right.
Really.
Right.
So there's not that big gap there.
Well, I'm not going to say Norway is better because I have a bad case of permanent homesickness.
Word.
So I'm not going to say Norway is better, but I do feel more secure here.
I do. I feel
you talk about your broken back. I've had 7 or 8 shoulder surgeries. Yes. I lost count. 8 in the last 3 years. I would have definitely lost my job. I would have definitely gone bankrupt if I was living in the States. So. And because of that, we pay a little bit more in taxes. I paid 28% last year.
Yeah, I think altogether, I would pay like 36, which sounds like a lot, but really altogether, it's.
Well, I feel that we get our money's worth here from the taxes.
The thing is that the tax money in the States, the tax money goes to
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, it goes to like corporate bailouts. It goes to
Which is socialism.
which is
It is.
socialism. It's socialism
Yeah.
for the rich,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's madness. And that people would support that socialism for the rich is okay, but giving the poor people. I mean, America just hates poor people.
Yeah,
It feels like it.
of course, not everybody, but there is a huge swath of the American citizenry who, I mean, we see it on social media, you know. Why should I pay for you if you can't handle your own medical bills? Why is that my problem?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, I get that, but aren't we a better country? Joe Rogan says this all the time. Wouldn't we be a better country if we took better care of each other?
We would be.
You know, break it down to the household level. Wouldn't I have a better household if I took better? Now I'm talking bad about myself. I take good care of my kids, but let's take it off of the personal. If a person has a household, isn't that person contributing to a better household if they take good care of every household member?
Absolutely.
So if you break it down to that level, it just makes sense to open up. I'm not saying America needs to turn around and be a socialist nation. I'm not saying that, but have a little bit more of a socialist mindset in the sense of taking care of.
Well, I mean, if we are a community, we have to take care of each other.
Don't we though? Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
And we are only as strong as our weakest link.
Yep.
So if we constantly...
Is Florida the weakest link?
I wouldn't say
I'm sorry. There's some strange people in Florida.
No.
There are.
Let me
Okay,
talk
I
about
said
Florida
it
for a
now.
minute.
I said
Now
it.
you
I said it.
about Florida. Here's the thing about Florida. People think that everybody in Florida is crazy because you get all these amazing news stories out of Florida, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You're like, oh my God, you know,
Florida
like,
man, this, that, and the other.
Florida man gets naked and runs across the water, and you know.
But see, I was a truck driver when I got out of the Marines. I was a truck driver for a couple of years, 2.5 years, and I was up and down because I lived in North Carolina at that time, and I was up and down I-95.
Oh, that's how you do.
From all the way up in Maine, all the way down to Miami, and the weirdest places. The weirdest stops that I had, the weirdest cohabitation with humanity was in Florida. They're just weird.
Well, it's not. That's the whole thing. Is that it's not a they. So you've got to understand that most Floridians are not from Florida.
Well,
I was not born in Florida.
Really?
I'm actually,
Were you?
I was actually born in Indianapolis, Indiana.
You're kidding
and
me.
my family moved down to Florida before I was 1 year old because fuck Indiana, you know, Mike Pence and all his weirdness, you know. So
oh yeah, was he the governor back then?
I think
no,
so. I don't know, but I know that it was that kind of ass backwards mentality. My parents was like, no, we'll go to Florida. But I grew up in Florida since I was 1, and I can't tell you all the friends that I made that I think I can count on one hand that they were actually born in Florida. So we have a mix. Like,
isn't there a lot of people? I think I asked you about this on a conversation on Facebook once. Aren't there a lot of people from New York, New Jersey?
A load of it.
Because I seem to remember I heard a lot of people with like Jersey accents when I was in Florida. I'm like, what is this?
And Boston.
Boston.
We
too?
have the bar. The bar they used to hang out with was actually a Boston bar. You know, they had Red Sox things everywhere and Patriot stuff, and it's. So the Northerners love to come. We call them snowbirds. They come down.
Snowbirds, yeah.
They come down, you know, during the winter months, and they hang out. But the thing about Florida, why there's always the Florida man in the news, is because Florida has this law. Have you heard of the Sunshine Law?
No, I haven't.
Okay, let me share this with you. There are Florida man. Florida man is in every goddamn state. The only thing about Florida man is that in Florida we have this law called the Sunshine Law, which is that everything that happens, all the criminal activity is shareable and it's free to the press. So we have this open press thing. Okay. So that's why all these crazy stories seem to come out of Florida, is because our press is so open. We get the names, the addresses in our newspapers and stuff. I guarantee you in Massachusetts, you have a Florida man in there. You have a Massachusetts man.
Yeah,
it's
but
just that the
now.
press is not so open. So check out the Sunshine Law. The Sunshine Law is that everything has to be open to the public. All the news, everything crazy that happens. Somebody that whacks off in the Walmart, you know, that's on the news, and his address and his name and his mugshots in the newspaper.
So what is it? Is it that the police have like a liaison that just
I think
throws all this stuff out to the press, or
a,
does the press come and just ask?
no,
How's this work?
it works with the radios, the police radios.
Oh, okay, so
See,
they're in on the scanners and whatnot.
Yeah. So the scanners, so all the news people have all the scanners, and so they always show up where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I don't think the law is the same in every state. It's just we
Must not be.
We are so open about our crazy people. We put our crazy people on the porch, give them a drink, and parade them out. That's all the difference is. And our law.
There's a reason why. What is Cops? We were watching Cops or season 29 or something. I do believe every single season had at least. I'm sorry, every single episode rather had at least 1 or 2 incidents that were in Florida.
Behind my house where I grew up. There, I would swear to, I seen so many. I was at a pub one time, JD's in Palm Bay. I will say this, JD's in Palm Bay. This pub,
East Coast.
Yes, it's East Coast. It's
East
in
Coast,
the Space Coast where the shuttle goes off. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like about 30-minute drive from where the shuttle goes off, and it's this little town called Palm Bay. And I was sitting at this pub in like 2007, just chilling. And all of a sudden, bad boys, these like cameramen came busting into the pub, grabbed this man, threw him down. It was a hot mess. And I was like, I love this town. You don't get this shit over here in Porsgrunn in Norway.
No, I don't think they do. Good Lord, could you imagine if they had a Cops type of, or maybe they do actually, don't they? What is that?
They do.
What is that show called?
Not Insider, but they have some shit. I've seen it, Politis, something or other.
Something like that.
I've seen it, yeah. But usually it's always
kind of boring.
Here, yeah, it's really
kind of boring for Florida people.
Yeah, because all they do is get drunk here.
That's true. It seems like most of the trouble is just drunkenness, and then the police come and it's like, hey, now you're drunk, come on, and it goes relatively
right.
well.
It's nobody in a flamingo costume like whacking off or anything exciting. It's just.
but on the other side of that, when things do happen, every once in a while somebody will pull a knife at a nightclub or something like that, and then it just blows up in the media here, and they act as if it's going to be the downfall of Norway. Because of one little incident, and
that's kind of like what my whole incident with that murderer.
Tell us about that.
Let's talk about that.
I was feeling you when you were, what was it, a few months back, maybe 6 months ago, when you had to go into court.
Man, that was crazy. That was crazy.
So someone you knew was killed. Or
no,
tell the story.
I'll tell the story.
A to Z.
I'll go from the beginning. Well, you know that Americans in Norway group that you and I are in.
Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out word. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Shout out to them. But so I was in that group, and it was 2014. Let me take you back to 2014.
Here we go.
Okay, we're going back to 2014. I was in my last year of nursing school.
Yeah.
And in your last year of nursing school in Norway, you have to do all these clinicals. You are working like double shifts at hospitals, and your shifts are like maybe you work a morning and then maybe you work a grave. And I was having issues trying to get to sleep.
Okay.
When I needed to, and I was exhausted. And I was a new mom. My son was only 1 year old. Baby daddy was not helpful. No. So I was working 2 jobs, going to school, doing these clinicals. I was exhausted. So I posted on the Americans in Norway group. I'm like, I was looking for Tylenol PM. This was what I was looking for, right? Because I knew that Tylenol PM would help with my back pain and put me to sleep, and it would be perfect, and I could sleep at 6.
Some good stuff.
It's some good shit, right? Or some NyQuil, help a bitch out.
NyQuil.
Something. NyQuil, the quill. Hashtag the quill.
Give me the quill, girl.
So something needs to help me because my sleep pattern, I mean, if I had to sleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and get up at 9, so I posted on the page. I was like, does anybody know if there's any equivalent to Tylenol PM? And this man popped up in my DMs. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Always watch that asshole in your DMs.
There's always one.
There's always one. So he popped up and he goes, oh, I know how to help you. Because I said I was a nurse. I need to sleep when I can. I'm a mom. He's like, what you need to do is get you some Xanax. And I said, oh, I feel that, but listen, they don't do that shit here, so no. And then he kept he told me he was a psychiatrist.
Oh, wow.
Okay, his name is Eirik Vald.
Oh yeah,
And he
we're coming
said,
out with names. Yeah.
yes, we're coming out with him. Well, he's in prison now, so
Yeah.
we can talk about him. But his name is Ira Vod, and he said that he told me he was a psychiatrist, and then he started coaching me what I should say to my doctor to get the Xanax. And here in Norway,
The heck
Xanax,
is this guy all about?
right? So here in Norway, Xanax is like scary drug.
Yeah.
So they don't
Yeah.
give it out
No.
here in Norway.
No.
So he was trying to tell me, he was coaching me basically. And I'm like, well, if you're a psychiatrist,
Why would he have to go through the back door like that?
why
doesn't he
coaching
just
me?
invite you into a doctor's appointment with him or
Roger
something?
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It seemed a little creepy that
I hear
a real
ya.
it seemed
Yeah.
a little for me the ethics were
Right.
a little bit wrong.
Something was a
especially-
little off.
Yeah. So I'm like, this bitch is not a psychiatrist. So I
Yeah.
blew him off and didn't talk to him. And then about a month later, there was another lady that popped up in our group. I won't name her,
Okay.
but we'll call her
She's still there?
yes.
Oh gosh.
So we'll just call her Andy or whatever. We'll call her Andy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll call her Andy. Andy, she posted, she goes, does anybody know this Eirik Vada? Anybody friends with him? Because he was in America and told me that he would send me some groceries if I just sent him some money. So I sent him the money. He never sent the groceries and he blocked me. Does anybody
This
still
sounds
know
like
him?
a Nigerian scam. You sure this guy was
Right?
Nigerian?
No, he was Russian.
Sorry, Nigerians.
He was Russian, actually. That was the
Okay.
whole thing. So I was like, I've been talking to this dude because he's been trying to flirt with me and hit me up for money and all that stuff. And he kept talking.
Hold on a
to me.
second. Let me fix your
Oh,
let me fix your cord here.
what am I popping up?
Give you a little more.
Oh,
Let's see.
I'll go over that one.
Miss Tiffany's getting her
I'll get my sound right.
no, I just want to give you more slack in your headphones. Let's see.
Is that better?
I got too much stuff here. There we go.
You got cords everywhere.
I got cords everywhere. Yep, for those of you listening, we're sitting in my music studio, so I got a lot of my music equipment here as well.
It's awesome.
But now you got a little more slack when
I got some slack
There you
now.
go.
I
I'm
got a
sorry.
little-
Go ahead.
That's all right. Yeah, no, I guess I was talking about that. Yeah, that dude, he had robbed this lady basically in our group,
Okay.
in Americans
Yeah.
in Norway. He robbed her. At
Totally scammed her.
totally fucking scammed her, and I was still technically friends with him, quote unquote, because he had been sending me messages. So I told her, I said, hold up, girl, I got you. So I sent him a message, and I'm like, dude, bruh, you told her that you were gonna send her some groceries, and you didn't, and you're bouncing off of the money. That's not cool. So either give her the money,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna go to the popo. That's how that's gonna go.
Hmm.
So he was not pleased with that. And I
Okay.
didn't realize what kind of man he was. I thought he was just your run of the mill con man, is what I thought he was. I didn't realize how dangerous
Right.
he really fucking
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And so when I told him I was going to the popo, and I did go to the popo,
Okay.
I guess he had gotten a message from the popo that I had gone to the popo or whatever.
Oh, they actually contacted him.
Yes,
See,
they
that's not normal
contacted him.
here.
Well, actually, no, that's how they do. Is if you get busted by the popo, then they will send you a letter, a fucking letter, because how scary is that, right? And most of them just toss it in the garbage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he wasn't so scared by the letter. But at that time, he was just a con man, and he was a con man. I didn't know that he had a group. He wasn't just one con man. He was a con man.
Oh.
He was a part of a con circle, is what they
I see.
Omkrets is what they kept
Yeah.
telling me. Omkrets.
Yeah.
So some kind of circle and a group. And he was half Russian, half Norwegian, I'm guessing. And
So he's just hanging out with a bunch of scammers and they're making a business
yeah,
out of
he
it.
was making a business out of it. So anyway, I had gone after him. I said, listen, you're going to give her money back. He told me basically, fuck you or whatever. And I was like, oh, no, no, bitch. So
Not
I wasn't
happening.
having it. So
Not
I
happening.
went on I guess you could say a campaign, online campaign. I
Oh,
made
you
a,
went after this guy.
oh, I wasn't fucking around. So no, you don't fuck with my people.
Miss Tiffany.
And I didn't even know Andy, this girl. We'll call her Andy.
Okay.
I didn't know her personally, never
No,
met her,
no.
but I was like, I know
You just saw the injustice that she had to go
I know,
through, and you.
and he tried that shit on me too. I guess I should have gone out with that. That he tried to the very beginning. He tried to quote unquote sell me some camera equipment, and he just wanted to know my PayPal account. And it was like so obvious that he was a goddamn scammer. So I told
Wow.
him to go fuck himself, basically. basically.
Basically.
Basically. And so it was after that that Andy came out, and she's like, okay, he robbed me. And I'm like, of course he did. He was trying to scam me before.
Yeah.
So I went after his ass. And then I put a whole Facebook page about how he's a scammer. I wrote his name in both English and Russian because he was using both those. And I went and I researched him.
Okay.
I found out that he had a fake business in Maine, that he pretended like he sold lobsters. I found out that he scammed somebody.
How'd you find all this out?
I researched, baby. Google is your friend.
Ah.
I did not fuck around. I went through it. I basically became a private investigator.
Okay.
Like,
So you had
was
this thing
crazy.
in. So you had this thing in Maine. What else did?
In the Caribbean, he also scammed some Jamaican performer. He was like a music artist, and so he scammed him or tried to, but he fled the country
the
before he
heck
got
is wrong with
caught.
this guy messing with
Right.
Jamaicans? You don't.
Right? Oh, you don't fuck with no Jamaicans. What are you doing? So, but he's been all over the country, and he's got quote unquote these shell companies all over the world. He's got a
Okay.
shell company in Maine saying he sells lobsters. He had a shell company in Russia. And then, so when I went after this dude and I told him, I said, listen, you're going to give her money back. Like, I'm going to the Popo. I went to the Popo. He got the letter. That pissed him off. And he found out where I lived. Yeah, he did. And I had a little one.
Were you living down in Porsgrunn then?
I was living
Okay.
down in Porsgrunn. I was living down in this Idunger, this little
Okay.
area called Idunger, and this great little apartment or whatever. But he found out where I lived, and I started getting these. At the post office, you get these little letters that say you got to come pick up this package.
Right.
And if it's a COD, it tells you how much the fucking
Right.
thing is worth.
Right.
So I got this one package. I don't know where it's from. That one was worth 24,000 kroner. I had to come
Oh,
pick
come
it
on.
up.
Really?
Right? And the next one was worth like 5,000 kroner. I started getting all kinds of razor blades in my mail from these companies like, shaving companies. But
That
just-
Dollar Shave thing.
right, but
yeah.
they were abonnement, subscriptions.
Subscription. Yeah.
Subscription, so that I would have to pay for them. Suddenly, all this stuff I'm having to pay money
Yeah.
to get things out of my mail, and I'm like, oh shit, this dude found out where I live. So it was identity theft right away. He had bought me like what he had bought me was I guess you could say all the stuff, all the ingredients that he bought me, you could make a bomb from. So he sent me
You're
fertilizer.
kidding me. This guy.
He sent me fertilizer, some specific fertilizer. He sent me some machine parts. He sent me all this thing to make it look like I was building a bomb. I'm an immigrant in a foreign country building a bomb. That was his whole idea. And then he went to the police and started talking about how I was a terrorist.
Wow.
And then he started sending me emails after that from different email accounts.
Mhm.
The first one, he claimed that he was a Swedish doctor and said that I had this tumor on my fallopian tube and that I should come in. So I knew that was bullshit because I've never had a Swedish doctor in my life. So why am I going to fall for that? So I called him out on that one, and he just kept sending me emails from different accounts, told me he was going to send the KGB after me. And then the last threat that he sent me, he told me, I'm just going to send a few guys down to your town and rape you. That was it, is what he told me. And then I didn't hear anything from it. And then
Now, this guy is doing all of this just because you stood up to him
Just
about that
because.
original scam that
That's
he
it.
first did.
That's it. And because
Uh,
I called him out, and I think the reason why he really went after me is because I made that campaign against him. I made a Facebook site with his
Yeah.
picture and said, Ida
Oh, you
Gbad is a
did
scammer.
that.
And
Oh.
I fucking blasted it out. I
Yes.
blasted out, don't fall for his bullshit. I was not fucking around.
You know I love you, right? You know I'm not. I'm on your side, okay?
I wasn't fucking around. I was
Yeah,
gonna ruin
yeah.
his shit because he was trying to hurt.
Well, the stuff that he does hurts people.
Yes,
You know?
after my research and I saw that he had scammed so many people all over the world.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
he's not going to scam anybody no more. And
No.
he scammed this Andy girl who I didn't personally know, but she was in my group. Now you're getting close to my home.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
I can believe me. I'm not supporting the way he acted at all, but I can understand why he got pissed.
Yeah.
You were jerking around with his livelihood.
I
His
was
lively,
messing
his
with
lively,
stuff,
yeah,
yeah.
his livelihood was these scams, and here you are trying to tear it down.
No
That's
doubt.
awesome. That's pretty ballsy.
I was mad.
I told you I thought there's this little tough element to you. You're the sweetest thing, but I can see you're tough too.
I got a little chihuahua in
you
me,
got a little
boy.
chihuahua.
I'm gonna bite it.
You got
I'm gonna bite.
You got a little Florida Gator in you.
Yeah, because I don't. It's something about injustice. It
I hear
pisses me
I
off.
hear you. Yeah.
On a most
Oh, I'm the same way. Yeah.
on a cellular
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
It pisses
absolutely.
me
Me
off.
too.
So I
Me
don't
too.
deal with it. And when he tried to scam me, and then I saw he scammed somebody else, and now you're too close. Now you're going down, bitch. That's it.
That's
And I was down with it. But he is a narcissist. Like from the clinical sense of the narcissism, not like he thinks he's pretty, but
textbook case.
Like from the the DSM, he's down in there. He cannot be wrong.
Well, it sounds like he was getting away with this for a long time, and then all of a sudden he meets this brick wall called Tiffany. So that probably triggered something in him.
It pissed him off. What happened with that was that I realized what kind of person he was, and that he was the man that had to be right all the time. And so I remember that I had contacted the police the first time when I had that identity theft, and they're like, "Do you know what he looks like? Do you know anything about him?" And I'm like, "No." So I was still in contact with him, and I started playing with him a little bit the next day.
Okay.
Was that he was like, I told him, "You need to give Andy her money back. And if you don't, I'm going to the police." He goes, "Well, you don't even know where I am." And I said, "It doesn't matter where you are." And I started playing with him a little bit. He said, "Well, I'm in Malta," or wherever he was at. I don't remember where he was at. But he's like, "I'm in Malta." I'm like, "You're a liar." But what I was trying to do was get him to take a selfie of himself right then and there to prove that he was right, because he's that kind of man. He has to be right.
You should have started flirting with him, asked for a dick pic or something. He probably would have fallen right into that.
I didn't want the dick pic. I wanted to see his background, where the fuck he was right then and there, because I wanted to get the popos out there, wherever he's at. He's like, "I'm in Malta," and I'm like, "You're a liar. You don't even have enough money to get to Malta. You're a fucking poor guy."
Okay,
You're like,
to drag him out,
drag him. And he goes,
go on his
"Oh,
ego
yeah?"
a little bit.
And he took a
Smart.
selfie of
Smart.
himself right where I knew he was going to do that.
Smart.
So he took a selfie, and immediately I sent that selfie to the popos, and I'm like, "This is where he's at. This is his coordinates. Boom. Let's get him. Let's get him."
So did they move on him then?
No, because right then and there, he wasn't completely a murderer yet. He hadn't killed anybody yet.
So far, it was just the scam stuff.
And that's what pissed me off about the Norwegian police, because I went to them about identity theft. And they sent me a letter saying it was henlocked. What is that?
Because they dropped the case because they don't have enough
Right.
evidence.
So I went with them for the identity theft. I went to them about threats. They didn't have enough evidence about that. This man said he was going to send people to gang rape me, and he fucking did. I didn't get raped, but I was on my way home from work. I was walking down. I had to walk. I didn't drive at the time, and I had to walk through the city center on a Saturday night. And there was these three men in a car parked on the side of the car, and one of them got out and pulled me in.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
Wow.
One of them got out and pulled me into the back seat, and there was one guy on my right side in the back seat and one guy on my left side in the back seat, and they had their hands and all kinds of stuff. Now, I don't know what happened.
Lord,
I don't know exactly what happened,
Lord.
but I know that when the police came, the police put me in handcuffs, because apparently after that attack, nobody saw them pull me into the car. The only thing you saw is that when the cops came, and I got out of the car, and then I kept wanting to crawl back into the car I wanted to punch this man.
Okay, you weren't
was
done.
hungry.
You weren't done with
I was hungry. I was hungry. I was coming in, I kept crawling back in, and they thought I was the aggressor.
Yeah. Wow, so they pulled you.
They pulled me into the back seat of a car, and they were trying.
Did a witness call the police? Or?
Yeah, what happened was there was a bartender there was a bartender at a bar across the way that saw the men pull me into the car. So he was able to corroborate my story that I got pulled in, that I didn't jump in, because the guys were like, "She just jumped in her car and just started punching us. She's crazy."
Yeah. So what happened to those guys then? If there's a witness, see, there you go. I can tell you the story. I wasn't even there, but I can tell you the story. Yeah, they will find. No, I don't. I need to be careful. Okay, I support the police here in Norway. What I don't support, what I don't appreciate, what I don't understand is the lack of support the government gives them in the way of funds and manpower.
Roger that.
And I think it puts the cops in a situation where, even though it's glaringly obvious that something happened, they have to weigh they have to weigh your case where somebody pulled you into a car against another case where maybe somebody did get killed. And where are they going to put the manpower?
It's sad.
So when it's like that, I understand it. It doesn't make it any easier for the average citizen here to swallow, but I understand that it is the way it is. So I want to be careful. I don't want to say anything bad about the police, but the system, the way the government treats the police, the way the government doesn't support them.
I don't understand the popo side of the whole story. I just know that whenever I had to deal with the popo, my side,
you know your experience.
I know my experience,
Yeah.
and it felt like the first time that I went to them, when I talked to them about the identity theft, I told them, I said, this man is dangerous and he's going to kill somebody. You don't understand. He is truly dangerous. His personality is dangerous. And then they sent me, like 2 weeks later, they sent me, this case is, we closed it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And I was so frustrated. And then it took about 6 to 8 months before suddenly I'm at work and I'm getting phone calls. My phone is fucking ringing off the hook. And it's the newspapers. And and I thought at first I saw that, I was a nurse at the time, so I saw my phone ring and then I checked it, to not the end, and it said Vega. And I'm like, oh, they're trying to sell me a subscription, fuck them. And then
for you non-Norwegians, Vega is a large national newspaper here in Norway.
It's kind of like the USA Today of Norway.
More coffee?
Oh yes, please. And then like 10 minutes later, then Dog Blocks got. And then after that, Tea and Varden, and my phone is just ringing off the hook, and I'm like,
what in the world happened?
What the hell is going on? And apparently, my online campaign against this Eirik Vod guy. The newspapers were researching him because he had just murdered somebody. And
I see. And you didn't know that at the time.
I didn't know that at the time. So I knew this Eirik Vod guy pre-murderer. He wasn't a murderer.
If you knew at that time that he had killed someone, would you still have gone after him?
Yes.
Online? Really?
Oh, yeah.
You're just a tough
woman. No, absolutely. I don't.
You are just a tough little woman.
Or stupid. But no, I don't play with that bullshit. No. You don't fuck with my people.
No.
Done. Okay.
Hey, I hear you. I hear you.
But this guy wasn't a murderer at the time. My phone's blown up at work, and it's all these newspapers, and they're saying that what happened was that now Eirik Vod was with one of his homies, Marius Groth. Yeah. And they were trying to scam this musician. He's a 25-year-old up-and-coming musician in Oslo. Fucking brilliant music, kind of like country. It was really sweet music. And they knew that he had, like, money stashed away, I don't know, in some kind of family account or whatever. And they were trying to get him, they were trying to con him to give some money to him, I guess. But what they ended up doing was they ended up giving him a lot of heroin. They doped him up, and they gave him too much, and they overdosed him, and they killed him in order to get his money. But that's not what got them caught.
Oh.
Right. So they ended up killing this boy, and then after they leave, what caught them was that the police kind of like had an idea that it might have been these two guys. So they followed him around. They were in the middle of trying to kill another dude.
Kidding me.
Drug him. And
same
that's
thing
when the
for money to get to money?
Same thing. So these dudes, like, they killed this young man, Paul Simmons, bless his heart, 5 years ago. They killed him, and then they were in the middle of trying to, like, a couple days later, whatever, they were in another hotel room with another guy, and they were drugging him. And the popo were spying on him, and they broke in and busted them.
Okay.
And
good work, police. Good work.
Amazing work by the Oslo police. Amazing work, because they really had their eyes on him, and that man survived. I mean, he was doped up, but he survived.
What is, or maybe you don't know, but I'm just going to ask, what do you know why the police thought that these guys killed? What is it that opened that up for them to know that it might have been those two guys?
I don't know I'll have to really research it, but from what I understand, Eirik Vod contacted the victim. He contacted their mother. He called the mother and said, "I'm taking him to the hospital," because I don't know if they meant. I don't think they meant to kill him. I think they meant
probably
to dope
didn't,
him down.
Yeah, and then get his money. They probably didn't mean to kill him. If he called his mother
Yeah,
like
he
that.
called his mother and said, but here's the thing that they are such, both of them. I mean, I met them in court. They're fucking narcissists. They have no remorse for
No,
what happened.
really.
So let's not mince words here. They have
Okay.
absolutely
Yeah.
no remorse.
Yeah.
They called the mother because I think they were trying to get access to maybe pin codes and stuff before he died. Yeah, I don't. It
Okay.
was not because they were trying to help him.
I
It was
see. I see.
definitely not.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that those two
I was trying.
people.
I was trying to find some good point in this guy that maybe he
No,
was.
there's
No,
nothing.
no.
There's nothing.
Wow.
And so anyway,
Wow.
yeah, let's get to that. With the court thing was, I didn't go to the first trial, and the first trial they convicted these two men
Yeah.
of, I would think that I guess. Translated would be like second-degree murder,
Okay.
that they accidentally killed him because their story,
Manslaughter, maybe.
manslaughter,
Yeah.
yeah, because their story, these two men's story was that that they accidentally killed him and they didn't know that they gave him heroin. Okay, follow me on this one. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna have to adjust
Twists and
myself in the seat
turns.
because this was the shit that blew me up in court. Was that these men said that we were trying to dope him down, dope on that.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to make him sleepy so that we can take his money.
Okay.
And what we thought we gave him was cocaine. Now, how you gonna make somebody fall
Nobody
asleep with
thinks
cocaine?
Yeah. Nobody thinks cocaine is going to put you
I'm
to
like,
sleep.
I'm like, who uses cocaine to put a
What do they think? They're going to get him so high he's going to break on through to the other side and he's going to get tired? What is that all about?
It's not a thing.
Oh.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
No.
So that was their story.
They're
so,
just lying.
So
They're
I blew
just-
a hole in that
Yeah.
one in their court. But the original sentencing that these, because I didn't go to the original court, I went to the appeal.
You went to the appeal.
I went
Okay.
to the appeal.
Okay.
I was a character witness in the appeal because
Okay.
this man had stalked me, terrorized me for 4 years. I mean, I had to like hide my name in the telephone book. I had to hide where I was living 4 years in Norway. It's terrible.
Didn't you have to close down your artist page?
I did. I can't even.
Tiffany is a fantastic artist, people. She just fascinates me. She can paint or draw pictures, and it looks like a photo.
Thanks.
I love it.
I'm into the realism, and
Yeah.
I want to make it kind of
Yeah.
look close to a photograph.
But yeah, you had to shut down that page because of this guy's harassment.
Yeah,
and
I
stalking.
can't.
What a shame. What a
Promote
shame.
myself like if I'm
Exactly.
doing a big show in like Drummond, for example.
Because you'd be afraid they'd show up.
Yeah, they'd show up, and
You need a bodyguard.
You're big enough.
Hey,
man. I can use a
let's
bodyguard.
talk about a price. We'll do that off the air.
Yeah, but these guys originally they got Eidegvad, the guy that was really after me, he got
Yeah.
10 years, and the other guy, Martius Groth, he got 15 originally, and then they went to appeals court, and that's when they called me in, and several others because they were trying to.
Were they trying to get more into their character? Is
I
that what
think
your
what it
testimony was more on?
yeah, because what the guys were appealing was they said they didn't mean to kill this boy.
Right.
It was an accident, and therefore
So they were hoping to get a lighter sentence because they
Right.
didn't.
It wasn't planned,
Yeah,
but here it was. Now they're calling me and several other witnesses. Like this man. Let me tell you something. This man didn't just try to pull me into a car and rape me. He told me that he was going to get my son taken away from me. He was going to murder my kid. He was going to. I mean, he
So
was.
this
gonna
guy just went all the way in with threats.
He
and,
went
and,
all the
and,
way in.
Yeah.
So that was what the court wanted to hear from me. Was like, I'm like, no, he planned this shit. He been talking about this shit for
Yeah.
years.
That goes right on his character,
It
which can
does.
also go on his intent
Yeah.
with the murder.
So what ended up happening is their appeal, they were trying to get less sentence, and Vod got 10 and Groth got 15. At the end, Groth got 20 and Vod got 15. So they
there you
both
go.
bumped up 5 because they realized that it wasn't an accident. It wasn't.
Well, I tell you, I think I chatted with you a couple of times about that, and trying to show my support because I know how nerve-wracking that can be to be right up in the middle of a case like that. Not only to have to put your testimony out there, but also just knowing that this guy and his minions could be out there.
That's the creepy thing is that because they kept saying that he has an omkret.
Yeah, a gang, a little gang, a little circle of influence.
It's a circle, and so no matter.
Do you still worry about that now?
I do, and here's the thing that I know you've heard this question from
Yeah.
pretty much every Norwegian you've ever bumped into. Trivs du i Norge?
Yeah. Are you enjoying Norway?
Are you thriving in Norway? Is
Yeah.
basically what they're asking, and I want to look at them and go, you know what? Fuck no. Fuck no, I didn't have no murderers coming after me. I didn't have all this crazy shit happening.
There's a little less murderers, not quite as many murderers after me in the States. Yeah.
In the States, I was a mailman. I just went door to door, put packages. I was safe. I didn't have all this hot mess of, fighting. No, I'm not thriving. Go fuck yourself. No.
No, it's that's a tough question to answer. Now, I used to just blankly just say, "Oh yeah, I'm quote thriving. Everything's just fine," and I would kind of say that to avoid having to talk about the reasons why I'm actually not.
But you know
thriving.
what, John? John, I'm going to give you a request.
Preach.
I'm going to request you this because that question, I think that Trivs du i Norge, it is are you thriving in Norway? I think it is a very unfair question to immigrants. I think it's wrong to ask an immigrant. And this is my reason. Okay, I'm gonna throw it down. My reason for this is that first of all, they put you on the spot.
They do
because you don't want to go. No, it's shit here, man.
Because then you got to deal with
faces and all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, well, it's like if you answer honest and you say no, I'm having a terrible time.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna have to have that discussion with them, and it's like they started it.
Yeah.
You didn't want to bring it up, but they asked you,
But
and you're just giving a straight up answer.
It's not just a discussion because I have no problem having the discussion.
Okay,
But
I don't have time.
I will let them know. I'll let you fucking know. No, I'm not having a good time, and this is some bullshit. But I will let them know. But my problem is that then they get this attitude of you fucking ungrateful immigrant. We are giving you everything.
There is a certain amount of cultural arrogance here.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say it, but it is.
It is. Yeah. So, you ungrateful immigrant, you get all this free medical care. Yeah, but I had a fucking murderer after me for 4 years, and it's snowing all the time, and I don't see the sunshine, and yes, I'm struggling. I don't have any family here. But so I think that question is unfair and stupid to ask, and the reason why is that when they ask, they know that, of course, we're going to say, yes, it's fantastic. We stand up like a goddamn Manchurian candidate and go, oh, the fjells and the fjords are so amazing, and the nature is so beautiful, and we love living here, and it's so amazing. Because we have to say that, because otherwise we break their fragile egos, and they go away, and the only thing we have here is the networking, so we can't shoo them away. But on the other side of that, is that if we keep telling them it's absolutely fantastic, then when they finally do get to that immigrant that has the balls to say, no, it's absolutely shit, they're going to go, oh, well, all the 20 immigrants before you said it's
Tiffany
amazing.
Tiffany said she's doing fine.
Yeah, yeah, John. And all these other immigrants that I know, all my other, other skinned friends, they think it's amazing here, so you're the ungrateful one. There's something wrong with you. But the truth is that maybe I'm just the one speaking the truth.
Well, I for one appreciate your truth. The things, and I love the humorous way in which you tell that truth. It's not a bed of roses here. It's not.
It's hard.
What is it? The United Nations says that Norway is always like the happiest or one of the top 3 happiest places in the world. Okay. But that doesn't fit for everybody.
At the same time, it's also one of the loneliest countries. It's also known as, and I even put up an article, there was the worst places in the world to make friends. Scandinavia is it.
You know what? I can say a lot about that. I'm just a country boy from Ohio. I have a smile for everybody. Mm-hmm. Literally, I have a smile for everybody.
I know you do.
And you throw that smile at a high percentage of Norwegians here, and they look at you like something's wrong with you. And I'm like, I'm just being friendly. I was raised. If you make eye contact with somebody and you're out in public, you smile and you say hi or good morning or something. Yeah. And the looks I get.
But even after 20 years, you can't stop yourself from looking at people and smiling to them, can you?
You know what? Because that is a core personality trait of mine. The openness, the smiling, saying hi, and all that stuff. And I'm not going to change that just because I'm here.
Here, it's a personality defect, but you know what? Walk with it.
Yeah, it used to bother me a lot, but I've kind of grown out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. When it's all said and done, I'm doing okay here. I'm doing fine. I'm doing great here. But little things like that, the coldness. Not the temperature, but the people.
Yeah, I get it.
The people. And not everybody is like that. I have, well, my boy Henning. Hello, Henning. Shout out to
Shut
Henning.
up.
He is, I've been friends with him for 18 years. I think I have one other friend that I've been friends with that long.
Yeah.
And Henning is Norwegian. So there are good people here.
There are.
Absolutely. But sometimes as an American, I just feel like I'm hanging on the edge of a cliff and they're stepping on my fingertips.
That's how it is.
I just feel that way.
I feel it too. It's not easy here. It's not. And then you feel like but at the same time, you feel like a man well out of country because you're not completely integrated. I don't want to say integrated, but you're not assimilated.
I don't
here.
like that word.
I hate that word integrated, but I say the word assimilated because that's what they want here.
Because over here, it seems like if you're integrated, integration means act like us.
Yes.
Think like us,
That's
be
what I'm
like
saying.
us.
There's a difference
Can't do
between
that.
there's a difference between
can't do
integrated
it.
and assimilated, okay?
For one thing, those stupid sweaters, what do they call those?
Marty against it.
Yeah, oh, good
Marty
Lord.
against it.
Those
Oh,
things are so itchy and hot.
Honey,
I'm
I'm allergic to wool.
And I'm a sweat box, so I'm constantly sweating. If I were to put on one, no, I'm just goofing. No, but I cannot fall into that stereotypical integration that people expect.
And I'm not
here.
gonna.
Not gonna.
I know.
Not gonna.
I'm gonna keep my Florida in me.
Do you know the Norwegian national anthem? Do you know it?
I do, but I can't sing it.
You're better than me. You're better than me. Do you know the birthday song?
No, the
not
fucking
even
birthday
close.
song. I've been here for 13
Not even
years.
close.
I can't. It's something happened.
I wait until they're singing, and then when they get to the last word, Gratulera, and I throw a little vibrato on it and do like a little Luther Vandross run, and then they're impressed. Oh my gosh. Oh, John.
Yeah.
He's integrated.
I know like the first 3 words and the gratulate.
Oh my
at the
gosh,
end.
I just can't
Boy,
get that song.
You
hit it. There you
I'll
go.
hit it hard. I hit it hard. I'll harmonize and everything. Yeah, I'll hit that shit hard.
Oh my gosh. No, there's a lot to criticize here, but there's a lot of good. I'm married to a Norwegian.
Yes,
so
you
that's
and she's
that says a lot.
amazing.
She's just a little badass. She keeps me alive. Look at me getting goosebumps. Oh. No, I am not so macho that I will not say that I love my wife. I mean, she's the best.
She is the best.
She's the best.
I like her. I love your wife.
That's my girl. She's just awesome. Yeah, you guys hit it off right away.
Right away. I think what it was is we went to your show, your premiere, and that was the first time I got to meet her.
Yeah.
And
I give her such a hard time on social media, though. So you probably know her a little bit
about. I knew about her, and you know what? The thing that I think is so adorable. I think the dynamic between you two. I think the first time I really kind of got to know you two on Facebook was that Snoop was outside and she was outside like fixing the brakes on your car.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you were baking muffins.
Baking muffins. I tell you, and I say it half jokingly, but it's also true. She is the one who swings the hammer in this house.
I roger that.
Her
and that's
father,
what made me love her.
Her father was into construction. He worked a lot on different projects with concrete.
Right.
And rebar and concrete and stuff. Most of the bridges, when you start getting north of Trondheim, those big concrete bridges, he was the guy in charge.
Amazing.
Yeah, so she was with him as like a 4 and 5-year-old, and then up through the years with him on these construction jobs. If you turn them the other way, I think they'll sit.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Like a little retarded. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So she can do. She's
amazing.
Changing the tires.
I was looking at her. I'm like, I like her.
She is just a tough little woman. And I tell you, now I'm getting a little sentimental, but going back to when I first met her, it was like in 97, 98, maybe.
It's been that long.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
My best friend Hege Nielsen, Norwegian woman who moved to Chicago in 96. And Hege and my wife have been friends since 13 years. So Hege introduced me to my wife way back then, and right away I could see there was just something different about my wife. She had this, it was literally in her eyes. She just has this way of looking at you that she tells you she means business, but there's a heart there as well. So it's like, don't mess with me. If you don't mess with me, I'll take good care of you. It's like all of that is in her eyes. And she has the I don't know, where I'm soft, she's hard. Yeah. Where I'm wishy-washy, she's firm. And it's just
It's a good compatibility.
it's a good
You
compatibility.
complement each other
Yeah,
really
yeah,
well.
absolutely.
It's adorable.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think it's great.
I married up. That's
You
important.
did.
Marry
You
up.
did.
Don't marry
I'm just gonna
down.
say
Marry up.
Marry
Marry up. Hey, listen, let me do a read real quick.
Yeah.
I want to read just a little advertisement for a good friend that we both know,
Yeah.
Miss Ellen.
Oh, Ellen,
Miss Ellen. Say hi to Ellen. Yeah.
Hey, Ellen, shout out, girl.
How did you guys meet, by the way?
Okay, so Schmelling.
Tell me that story.
I know about Schmelling, okay? She's not just Ellen, she's Schmelling. Okay, I've known her since I was in my 20s, and I used to go to this fantastic bar, Chumley's. Shout out to Chumley's. And it's still out there. So we used to meet at Chumley's. I'm not sure
Where
if
was this now?
near Florida Institute of Technology. Okay, so it's kind of like the college bar outside of Florida Institute of Technology in Melbourne, Florida. And so we just meet up at the bar. I would meet her a lot there, and we just became really close friends. And I realized that she's got this amazing eye for design. So anytime I need any kind of graphic design, any kind of I told her, I remember I was trying to design this T-shirt, and I needed it quick, and it was I think it was for the last leap year.
Okay,
actually.
yeah.
So we had this. I'm a member of the Hash House Harriers, which is a running group, quote unquote. Actually, we're a drinking group with a running problem, is what we say. So basically,
Awesome.
we run around and we get hammered
Awesome.
and we get lost in the woods and we get more hammered, and it's a great time. But we have a special event every leap year that we had to make these amazing shirts, and it was so close to the deadline, and we had to make a graphic design to send to the T-shirt company.
Okay.
And I just sent Schmelin, sorry, Ellen. I'm going to be more respectful. I love you, Ellen. So,
I'll make sure I call her Ellen. I don't want to get slapped.
Schmelin.
She's a few thousand miles away back in the States, but I think she can slap me.
I
from
think
there.
so. We've been calling her Schmelin for like 15 years. I can't do that anymore. She's a grown woman. She's a grown woman. She's not Schmelin anymore. She's Ellen. So, Miss Ellen. But I contacted her, and I'm like, girl, I need a T-shirt, and we kind of want to go with a Star Wars theme.
So she was doing graphic design already back then
Crazy.
in her 20s. Okay.
Crazy. Well, no, actually, no. This leap year was only 4 years ago. That's how leap years go. So this was a previous leap year that we had.
Gotcha,
Now we're on another one.
Gotcha.
But the last one, 4 years ago, I told her I need to design this T-shirt real quick. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Within a day, the next morning, boom, and she came out with the most delicious, amazing leap year design, and she's incredible.
Well, I tell you, she really nailed the work on my artwork for my album. She really nailed the podcast logo, podcast artwork. Let's see, I'm supposed to read this.
Read it.
Okay. I have worked with I'm just going to say it from the heart. I worked with Miss Ellen through you. You were the one that I think I approached you first.
Yeah, you asked me
didn't have
because
time for
I
a
was.
brother. I ain't got time for a brother.
It wasn't a time.
Walk away, black man. No.
The thing was, you came up to me for art, and I can do art on a canvas, but I can't do it on the computer.
Exactly. That's what it was. Yeah. So you suggested that I contact Miss Ellen, and I did. Ellen works she owns LA Square Design. She did all of the artwork. I can't describe to you guys how easily she captured my vision for the artwork.
All you have
for
to do
my
is
album.
tell her what you're feeling, and she can put it visually, and it's amazing.
And I tell you, I'm even more excited for the next album. I haven't even released the first album yet. The music is done. I'm just gonna paint it up a little bit.
Right.
I'll release a couple more singles, and then that album will come out. But I'm already talking with her about the artwork for my next album, and that's going to be really exciting. The artwork, that is. I don't know about the album. I don't want to brag too much. But LA Square Design is a husband and wife team based out of the U.S. in Lafayette, Louisiana. Louisiana, y'all.
Hey.
Who that?
Who that?
On March the Saints. And she offers graphic design, website consulting, and marketing services.
And she's amazing.
She's amazing.
And she's dedicated. She's dedicated.
She's very dedicated. The communication process was fantastic. A lot of people would think, Lafayette, Louisiana, well, that's so far away. Yes, it is. But through the magic of Dropbox, through the magic of regular telephone conversations, and as we said, she's very good at capturing the vision of the customer. At least she was with me.
She does, yeah.
So the distance meant nothing. It meant nothing. She nailed it.
She nailed it.
So if you want to contact, oh no,
Schmelling.
I didn't print out the. wow, I didn't print out her website address. I'm gonna have to find that and I'll give it to you guys.
Well, can we take a break?
We can. You know what? This is live.
I gotta
We'll
pee.
just. You know what? Go ahead and let's take a break.
Let's take a break. I gotta pee.
How do I do that? Push that button right there as I record. And we're back through the magic of podcasting. I was able to pause. We took a bathroom break, and I got the address, the website address to LA Squared Design. That address is www.la2design.com.
Say that one more time.
That's
honey.
www.la2design.com. la2design.com. Give them a shout out there if you need any kind of graphic design work, any kind of website building or consulting, and any marketing services. Tell them John Allen sent you.
And Tiffany, hey.
And Tiffany.
That's right.
My girl Tiffany.
I'll holler about them.
Tell them I sent you, and I don't know if that's going to help you any, but tell them I sent you. There, that was my read for the day.
That was it.
Wow, what were we talking about as we were walking down the hall?
We were talking about friendships here,
Socializing here. Yeah, I hesitate. I'm very careful. I don't want to disrespect people. Shout out to my grandma who taught me my Southern manners.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to disrespect people, but if I want to say things as they are, sometimes it just really sucks here. I feel like I have to, well, I don't have to prove myself to anybody, as I said, but if I look at the job situation,
you do.
In the States, I was a kick-ass narcotics detective at a good-sized police department, and then I come here to Norway, and that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Now, having said that, I think it would be extremely difficult for me to make adjustments in my policing mentality to be able to work in the police here. But if I wanted to work in the police here, I couldn't do it. I would have to go back to school.
You have to go back to school.
And take a 4-year education. It's a 4-year college education to be police.
Let me preach about that for a minute, because I went into Norskurs, the Norwegian language course that most immigrants have to take when they first moved here to Norway. And I went with a man named Richard, who was from South Africa. And he was also this amazing police officer. I mean, just a kick-ass police officer. And he couldn't get a job.
South Africa, you said?
South Africa. Yeah, he was from South Africa. And he could not get a job here. As a police officer, he would have to go back to school. So what he ended up becoming is a teacher. He's a teacher at my kids' school now, which is great. Okay. And so I feel super safe. But he was super upset because he had all this experience. And not only that, but I don't want to talk shit about the Norwegian police, but they have a little bit more action in South Africa than they do. He was from Johannesburg. I mean,
so he was working then.
Yeah, and he was a white boy.
He was working.
Yeah, so he was working. You know, he was working in Johannesburg. So coming back here, of course, he would be an amazing police officer, but they won't give him a second look because he has to go through their course. His education apparently is not looked at, and it's the same thing with nurses. Yeah. Nurses with master's degrees from America and Australia, they try to get a job here in Norway.
You got to start at the bottom.
You got to start at the bottom and
get that education. Wow. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. How many of us are struggling?
I'm struggling.
You struggling?
I'm not going to lie. I'm struggling. Like I said, I didn't like that Trivestui Norge bullshit. My last day at my job is tomorrow, and then I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know what other job I'm going to have coming up because
you've thrown a lot of applications out there.
At least 50.
And how many interviews out of those 50?
I have now, this will be 3. 3 whopping, which is amazing. 3 interviews is amazing. That's a big one.
But you know what I think? You are... you're tough. You have your self-assuredness, at least outwardly. You're no kind of an introvert, and so you have a certain amount of strength behind you to, for lack of a better term, tolerate the experience of having 50 applications out there and only having 3 interviews.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone was a little less sure of themselves, maybe newer in the country, maybe without the solid educational background from the States, and they having to put out 50. What did I read the other day? Somebody put
At
150
least.
something
At least.
applications and zero
Zero
callbacks,
callbacks.
zero
Nothing.
interviews.
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because if you don't have the last name Hansen or Olsen or whatever, you don't. I'm not gonna holler about the xenophobia here, but there's a little bit.
There is
So
that's
it
a
is a
thing.
little bit because they
We're
are
just being
short.
honest, people.
It's being
We're not trying to
honest.
talk shit
Not
about
talking
Norway.
shit. It's hard.
It's just honest.
It's
Yeah.
hard. So if you don't have that name, then automatically there's going to be like at least a 30% drop in the phone calls that are going to come after you.
I was telling you off the air as we were walking down the hallway that part of me feels guilty if I say anything bad about Norway because I have done well for myself and for my wife and kids. We're doing okay. We're doing good.
That's a cute house.
Thank you. So we're doing good. So who am I to complain?
Right.
I guess the answer, who am I to complain? I have my experiences, and it has not been a walk in the park.
No.
And I know people out there are going to say, oh, stop your crying, stop your belly aching. Everybody has their challenges. But does everyone have the types of challenges that we have as Americans in this country where we have to work through these people's xenophobia, where we have to work through their prejudgment of us? It's not easy.
It's not easy. And let's be real. I mean, there's a lot of prejudgment that they have that's warranted. How so? Okay. Well, I mean,
not that I disagree. I just want to hear you.
All right. For example, I remember coming here to Norway, and I remember hearing the stereotype that Americans are so fucking loud. I mean, you hear them before you see them.
But that's true.
Oh my fucking God, it's so true. I didn't realize it. I did not realize it until I went. It was like my first trip outside of Norway. I think I was going to Germany or something, and I landed in Germany, and I heard these two American people at the gift shop talking so fucking loud, and I was so embarrassed. And they were like, "Oh my God, look at this!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my God, we really are that way." I didn't see it because I lived in it, but then I moved out here, and I don't know who's in the wrong to say.
I don't think anybody's in the wrong. I think it's just a
big difference.
Americans are more. I don't know. We're more extroverted. We're more
like when I go home.
Norwegians are more reserved. They're
much.
more So be quiet. Don't be seen. And don't be
Well, my
heard,
thing is like I know when I go to the States, when I go back home, it takes me a couple days to adjust to being in the line at the grocery store.
No,
Sounds weird.
No.
Sounds weird. Yes, because
I love that.
I do, but it takes me a day or two because I've been here in Norway for so many years, and then I go to the grocery store line in Florida, where I'm from, and somebody will turn around and, "Oh my God, you're buying? What are you baking? Tell me all about it. What do you got in there?"
But I don't.
And I freak out the first day.
Not me. That is my first recognition of actually being home. The small talk.
Yes.
I don't know if people hear it. I don't know if you have any opinion on the way I talk, but people back home say that I have some sort of accent. I'm from rural Ohio.
Yeah.
They say I have some sort of accent since I've been gone. So people will comment that when I'm there. I don't know what I'm saying that sounds different. I'm just talking, but they tell me that. So that's a conversation. Just a little thing, like you say. People. Oh yeah, you're buying it. Yeah, what do you make? What's for dinner tonight?
What's for dinner tonight? They'll ask you, and it's always the first. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it, but it takes.
But you have to have a little.
I need a boundary.
Period.
I need an adjustment period. I need a day because if I
fall right into that.
I come home or if I land in Florida that day and then I go to Walmart that day, it takes me a minute. I'm like, why are they talking to me?
I fall right back into place. It's like, yes, I'm at home now.
But once I do feel it,
I hear you.
So good. It feels so good that people pay attention to other people, that you don't feel like this, I don't know, this background prop.
Yeah.
Here in Norway, I feel like a background prop.
Yeah.
I
don't know. It's but we are loud. I'll give you a good example. I was talking about my friend Hagen Nielsen. She's lived in Chicago now since '97.
Oh, God bless her.
20 some years. She is so freaking loud. We'll go and train. We'll go and work out together, and then we'll go to Meni, the grocery store down the road, and she is just so loud. Now, Hege has a great sense of humor. Sometimes it's a little bit raunchy.
Word.
And I wonder, I mean, I love it. Haga, please don't change. But I wonder if sometimes she forgets that even though she's speaking English and joking and talking dirty in English, they understand what she's saying here. And I'm blushing and getting embarrassed, and she's just talking. We are loud.
Yes, we are loud.
We are loud.
We are loud. And it took me a little phase to get over that, and the fact that the first maybe 3 years that I lived here, I was very conscious of how loud I was. So I became this little meek mouse, and I just shut up, and I just was here. I was that immigrant who just nodded her head and like, sounds good, whatever. Yeah. But then, I don't know, I got to a point where I was like, I live here too. You know, this is my world too. And fuck everybody, you know, fuck them all. If I want to be loud, I'm going to be loud. When my brother comes to visit me, we holler.
There's 5 million plus Norwegians here. Fuck them. Every one of them. Every last one.
Every last one of them right in the butt. I don't give a fuck. No, I fuck them all. Because I live here too. And listen, I've been here for 13 years. I pay my taxes.
There you go.
I am, granted, I'm not assimilated, but I am integrated.
Well, yeah, and it's semantics, I guess. Yeah. But again, it goes back to my thing about integration, where it seems that you are not integrated unless you act like them, talk like them, like what they like. Unless you're assimilated.
That's fucked up. I don't want to be part of the Borg.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No,
I don't know if you've ever seen Star Trek, but the
yes.
assimilation.
Yeah.
I'm not having it. I'm not going to say yes while I inhale. You know, I'm not going to. You
know what? I'm sorry.
I thought somebody was dying one time when he was talking to me. Because he kept going, and I was looking because I thought somebody was throwing some shit.
I don't think I do the yaw on the inhale, but I have noticed that I say
I do that too, but I do that more as a passive aggressive kind of.
So you have a plan to your
there's
a meaning behind your.
My lips are a little more pursed than they should be. I'm like
you turn from Miss Tiffany to Auntie Tiffany, and throwing a little teeth sucking.
I have a little bit of Medea in me. I do.
You got some black folks in your family, don't you?
I do. I have.
Is it Uncle?
It's an uncle, my Uncle Mike. Shout out to my Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
He's actually my favorite uncle, and he's been. I mean, obviously he's married into the family because I'm Caucasian, but he's my favorite uncle. And then I have through him, I have 4 half racial cousins or whatever. But I used to hang out with the black side of my family.
I hear it every once in a while. A little something comes out in your voice.
And they used to do my hair, when I was, because they loved playing with the Caucasian hair, because our hair, let's just be real, our hair feels different.
Did they give you cornrows?
They did.
Tell me they did.
They did, but they let me play with their hair too. And I like the fact that, I know it sounds awfully racial or whatever, but we have different texture to our hair.
Sure,
and then
absolutely.
I was a black person. You don't want white people grabbing your hair or whatever. But when you're cousins,
but
if you're
in, then touch the hair.
That's why I say. My thing is
you get a pass.
I might be white, but I'm invited to the barbecue white.
There you go. I'm
invited to the barbecue.
There you go.
But like when we were kids, I remember, because we were curious about each other.
Sure.
I mean, obviously,
sure.
And when you're younger,
it's
It's
natural.
fine. So they used to play with my hair and see how it felt like to braid, and I used to feel their hair, and we really got to know each other culturally because we grew up together, and I can ask those awful questions, what you're wondering about, like what do you do to your hair to make it softer, and I ask them what products they use, and they ask me what products I use, and I think that openness
sure
was great for me to grow up, because listen, I grew up with a racist daddy.
Yeah, I think you said something about that
My
before.
daddy was racist, so going into it, when my auntie married this black man when I was young, at 5, I'm like,
probably.
I didn't freak out, but I was confused.
Oh, he did probably. I'm saying.
He must have.
Yeah.
He's a brave man, my Uncle Mike. He wasn't fucking around, because that whole family is hillbillies, So he wasn't fucking around, but he came in, and we all fell in love with him.
Okay. Yeah.
Even the racist people in my family, we fell in love with Mike.
Well, there's always. I like to think that there's always hope for people.
There is. I think so.
And I think it has a lot to do with exposure. If you've never, if you sit around and you're around a bunch of racist people and you never have contact with the people who you hate,
right,
you're going to believe what the racist people say.
Right.
So I think it has to do with exposure. It has to do with contact. It has to do with opening the door to diversity. Now, I live in, or I was raised in a multiracial family. My great grandfather on my mother's side was a red-haired Irishman.
Oh, shut
As a
the
matter of
front
fact,
door.
yeah,
Get out
yeah.
of here.
So I don't know. To me, it's no big thing. I was raised
Right.
from day one in a multiracial family.
Right.
I'll show you some family pictures up
I
on the
can't
wall,
wait
up
to
on the wall
see.
outside when we go out.
I'll see.
So I don't know. I wish everybody had as much of a laid back view of these things as
I
we do.
think so too, but I think if we all kind of grew up a little bit, I think the problem is that growing up, we were told that it's not appropriate to ask these questions. For example, when we're kids,
Yeah.
can I touch your hair? It should be okay.
See,
It
yeah,
should
exactly.
be okay.
Because if those kind of things
When
aren't
you're children.
allowed, then the pendulum has swung too far to one side
Right.
or the other.
Because then all of a
it's
sudden it
just
becomes a secret
curiosity.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden I'm not allowed to ask, and it's shameful to ask. But when you're children, I think when you're children,
Yeah.
as young as I was,
It should, yeah.
it should
It
be
should be, yeah,
encouraged to
absolutely.
ask about the culture and
Absolutely.
teach me about what you use and teach me about how you do your hair. And I was so exposed to that. I was so lucky to be exposed to that.
I had a guy. This actually happened quite a few times, both here and back in the States, actually, where people kind of look at me a little up and down. He's not that dark. What's up? And they'll ask me, "Are you a Pacific Islander?" That
They think
that
you're
mess
Samoan.
that mess cracks me up. I don't
They
see.
think you're the
I
Rock.
don't see. I wish I had the Rock's money.
Word.
I don't see that.
I don't see Samoan.
And then I get well, they don't say Samoan. They just say Pacific
Or
Islander.
when you know what
Pacific
they
Islander.
mean. You know what they mean. They mean that
Pacific
you look like
Islander.
you should be in Moana. That's what they think.
And if I run into Africans here, John, where are you from? I'm from the United States. No. Before that,
Oh.
the United States, Ohio.
Yeah.
No. Before
Before
that.
that. You know what?
And it's like, are they trying to flex on me because
I don't
I don't know what
where
tribe?
in Africa you're from.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, this was something that was, as a young child, this was the thing that really, I don't know, it kind of, I've never let go of this information or this thought, was when I was a kid hanging out with my African American cousins and stuff, that people would ask him, "No, where in Africa are you from?"
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
here was the thing that they told me as a young kid, and
Yeah.
it blew my mind,
Yeah.
and it followed me throughout, was that they're like, "Tiffany, where we come from, we were slaves, and then we were sold out. So
Exactly.
you, as a white person, you could probably trace back your
Sure.
roots to where you come from.
Back to
But
pre-Columbus days.
here, as an
yeah.
African American, we get so far as to
Yeah.
Africa, and that's it.
Yeah.
The records are lost. So we don't know if we're Ghanaian. We don't know if we're Nigerian. We don't know if we're. So we don't have that root to take
Exactly.
hold of, and that hit me really hard.
Well, people have to also remember now I hope I'm getting my dates right, but the transatlantic slave trade was made illegal in the United States. I believe it was in 1803. So that means,
Couple hundred years.
yeah. So even if you could trace your family back as a Black American, it's going to stop in
Yeah.
1803
In
because
1803.
But something that really jacked my mind up here. Just a couple days ago, I was reading somewhere online. I don't even remember where it was or why I was looking it up. But the slave trade, 1803, the transatlantic slave trade was stopped in 1803. But it was as late as 1860, just a couple months before the Civil War started, that there were still slave ships coming over illegally.
Yeah.
But they were still coming over. So then think about those people.
They're
That
definitely
can't even trace, before 1860.
no. And so you think about your family. I can't even think about, like, I know my grandparents, and that's it. So I can't think about 100 years in the past. So think
Yeah.
about losing 200,
Think about that.
300 years
Think about it.
of family and documents of who
Yeah.
your family was, and then trying to trace back where you
Yeah.
come from.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the rootlessness of that.
Well, on the other, and I feel you. I hear what you're
Yeah.
saying, but on the other side of that, I feel extremely grounded and well supplied with roots. even though I can only go back as far as what my grandmother has told me about my great grandfather and great grandmother.
Right.
Yeah, it would be nice to be able to go back, but it's not like I'm. And I've had this conversation with some African immigrants here in Norway where they it's almost like they feel sorry for me that I can't trace further back than that.
I don't feel sorry.
I don't feel sorry. I mean, it's historically, in a historical context, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
But I feel very grounded. I very much identify with my family, the Richmond and Reese family lines. I identify very much with that. Maybe more so. Well, no, I don't want to get into any kind of a competition with Africans, but I mean, they can't act like as if they are the only ones that have any kind of roots, that they have any kind of identity, because African Americans, we do have our identity. It just doesn't go back so far. It doesn't go far.
And I kind of feel that on a little bit too, because my father was adopted. So, and we don't know. Okay. So my roots go as far back as just dad.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if people like Trautman, that sounds German. I'm like, I think it's Austrian, but I don't think I even come from any of that area. Yeah. But I don't give a damn, because where my roots start.
I'm not missing anything.
I'm not missing anything. No. I mean, I will, if I'm Irish, I don't give a fuck. Beer still tastes good, whether I'm Irish or not, whether I'm German or not, I'll eat a bratwurst. So you
don't get like a special feeling inside during St. Patrick's Day?
I'm Floridian.
I'm Floridian.
There you go. I'm Floridian. Even though I was born in Indianapolis, I grew up in Florida. So when people go in America, people want to know, what immigrant you come from. Yeah. I don't know if black people do it, but white people do it all the fucking time. Yeah. Oh, are you Irish? Oh, are you Italian? Oh, let me talk about it. But you've never been to Ireland or Italy in your whole life.
No.
Then they want to talk about that. So I just say I'm American.
I'm not too much of a fan of the hyphenated thing.
No.
I mean, if I refer to myself and I have to break it down, okay, I'm a Black American. Mm-hmm. I can't identify, and I have nothing against people who feel differently, but I can't identify myself as an African America, because what is my contact with Africa? I don't know.
Have you ever been?
No, never been.
No.
Not so sure I want to go.
Yeah.
With this coronavirus.
Actually, I think Africa was like the last country to be hit with it.
That's true.
I think Africa was the safest.
That's because Ebola was flexing.
That's right. Ebola was
Get out of here. Get out of here, Corona. I'm Ebola. I'm sorry to all my African brothers and sisters out there. I give them a hard time in my stand-up routine. I do. I think I touched on it a little bit that first night, but I've kind of expanded on that, and those I'm a little rough on them. I'm going into Oslo. I think it's the 10th of March. I'll be in Oslo.
Where at?
Hit
me up.
What's it called? What's it called? Wow, let me look on my.
You better look.
Is it called Steinars Open Mic?
Oh, okay.
Steinars Open Mic at Mir, M-I-R, Mir. It's called
M-I-R. Okay. You need to give directions and times and stuff.
You know what? I'm gonna post it. I'll post it on my on my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But I'm going into Oslo, and I expect to see a few Africans there. So this is going to be the true test of my African material.
Okay.
I kind of go in depth on the similarities and differences between myself and what I refer to as pure Black people.
Black folk. Oh,
I'm a little watered down,
right.
so. But it's all in fun. It's all in fun.
Coors Light of Black folk.
The Coors Light. There you go. But this is going to be interesting to go into Oslo. I've never performed in Oslo before.
This is a big city.
They say that it's a different crowd. I don't know. But I'm trying to get a solid 25 minutes down. And when I get that, I'm going to go on a little mini tour with my friend Babek Namati. Babek was my first guest a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure when it's going to air, but I
promoted him on your page once or twice.
Yes, I have actually. Yeah, yes, I have. Yeah. He was so kind. You saw me that first time. I performed one more time after that, like 2 weeks later, and then the third week, it was 3 weeks after the first time I ever did stand up, and Babek invited me to open for him.
I saw that
for his solo show.
I was so stoked
So we had so hats off to Bobek. I love that guy. He
Word.
gave me a great
Yes.
opportunity. He's a great stand-up comedian himself, and I opened for him.
That's
For
amazing.
that,
I'd like to meet him one day.
you
He
know
seems
what?
like a really fun guy.
I'm gonna have him back as a guest.
Okay.
So you're forcing me now to buy a third microphone.
All right. All
And
right. All right.
all three of us
Because
will
we
be
can
here.
do this.
But going to Oslo is kind of like a trial run, or like practicing to get my 25 minutes down solid. I'm going to try it there. I have another date at it's called Henriken or Henrikens,
Uh-huh.
Henriken, yeah, in Oslo.
All
I'll
right.
come with that date as well.
Well, let me give you some props here for a minute.
Oh yeah,
Because
you're going to give me some props.
huge. Because I did stand up in the States. And I think only one time in my entire career I did a 20-minute or 28-minute show. 28 minutes. And you've only been doing this like maybe a year, and you're already trying to do a 25-minute shit. This is amazing to
Wow.
me because with me, I'd be shaken. My bits were usually between 8 and 10 minutes. That was like
Okay.
kind of the average. And then to do a 25-minute bit or anything to a half hour, I mean, this is a lot of material.
Well, thanks. But I'm loving it. I have a solid 15 minutes right now.
That's
I
awesome.
have a shaky 20 minutes, but I
Right.
want to make it a solid 25. I think I can do that with maybe 2 or 3 trial runs in Oslo,
I think so.
and then I want to go out on a tour, make a little bit of money, meet some new people with Bobek. We'll do 25 minutes each.
That would be
I'm thinking we'll alternate. I'll open
and
one night, he'll
yeah.
open the next.
That's amazing.
That way we have equal billing.
25 minutes. I mean, this is no joke now, John. This is a
Well-
lot of stuff. This is a big set, and not to freak you out, but a lot of heckler can happen.
Oh, I can handle
and-
them hecklers.
Okay, all right, because this is what you need to do. You need to
I,
have them hecklers on check.
I put them in their place. I was out in Mjøndalen about three weeks ago. I was one of the openers for Zahid Ali.
Okay, yeah, I've seen his picture too.
Yeah, great guy. That guy. Shout out to Zahid. He's solid.
Yeah, funny.
But I opened. I was one of the openers for him, and that was a rowdy crowd out there in Mjøndalen. There were some ladies sitting in the front row who had a few things to say about my size and all that stuff, and I just put it right back
There
on
you
them.
go.
So, no, I don't know. I do a lot of writing, so I guess it's a little intimidating to think that I have to expand my 15 minutes to 20 or 25, but I can do it because I do write. I write a lot. And some of it works, some of it doesn't. But I try it out on the club evenings, the drum and stand-up club. We every other Wednesday.
Every other Wednesday, yeah.
And then in between, I'll do things at Mjøndalen or whatever.
Here's a little tip from me to you though, when it comes to trying to
Yeah.
fill out the time in your
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
Make the audience do the work for you a little bit. I
Yes,
think
yes.
if you work the room a little
Yes,
bit,
that's what I was kind of getting into about
Yeah.
that rowdy crowd in Mjøndalen.
yeah,
It didn't faze me in the slightest bit. I just rolled
roll
with it.
with it. Yeah.
And I think that is I'm far from an expert comic, but I do think I have a knack for this because I'm able to recognize those little openings.
You
That
have a
the
connection
crowd-
with people, and
Yeah.
whenever somebody does give you that opening, you take it.
Yeah, you can't be in yourself. You can't be in your own head. You
No.
can't even be in your own heart when you're doing stand-up. You must be open.
Yes,
I call it a conversation with the room.
it is.
I'm talking with them,
You
not
talking
to
with,
them.
yeah, you hanging out with
You know,
them.
yeah.
You hanging out with them. You telling them a story. You
Absolutely,
finna tell them a story.
absolutely.
Hold up, this is what happened.
Did you guys hear that? She said fitna. She didn't say about to. She didn't say going to. She didn't even say fixing to. She said fitna.
Fitna.
That's
Hold
a-
up, I'm finna tell you a story. And usually that's what happens is like I'll get in my room with my friends or whatever, and I'll have
And
my
it
little
starts-
drink, and I'm like,
and it starts-
okay,
there you
what
go.
had happened was, hold up, let me tell. I'm finna tell you a story. Hold.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
But that's what it is to be a
But I-
comic in the room. You want to be fitting to tell them a story. Hold
Yeah,
up, sit down.
yeah.
Hold up, Mama's got to tell you something.
I just love doing it. And I kind of fell into it. That first night that you saw me, that was last year in March.
God, that was a whole year ago.
Think about it. Yeah.
You've done a lot in a year, John.
Well, not really, because now I got operated. My last shoulder operation was in May.
I remember.
So then it was a full stop on everything that had to do with stand up or
Fun.
making music or fun. Anything, at all.
Anything,
From
yeah.
May until December.
Oh,
December was the next time I did stand up.
That's messed up.
That's how messed up I was after that operation. I'm gonna do a whole podcast about that.
All right.
Because there's so much information to share with people when it comes to the rehab process and everything. But I have been messed up from the shoulder operation. But gosh, what was I saying now? Now I just fell out of my whole train of thought. No, but how I fell into stand up. Yeah, it was in late April, maybe just a week or two before that show. Jon Yarde, who is the boss for the Drummond stand up club, put out a post on Facebook, basically saying 2 people that were supposed to perform on the 9th of March have dropped out. Is there anybody out there who would like to come on open mic? Anybody, no experience necessary. I didn't even think about it. I don't know what was happening. I just sent a message. Yes, I'll do it.
Why the fuck not?
I didn't know Jon Yarde. I didn't know any comics here at all. I had never done it before. I just said, yes, I'll do it.
That's it.
And then a couple weeks later was that first night, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah,
fell in love with it. And I could
tell that you were really. I mean, even though like the first night you have the jitters, right? And
I did, yeah.
And I know with me, like when I have the jitters and my anxiety's up, like all the material, this like the iron curtain comes down, you don't remember shit to say. You held your own. You held your own.
I did 7 minutes.
You did
7 minutes.
You held the audience the whole time. I know my first time I did not do that. I think my first time when I was up on stage, I was supposed to do a 5-minute set. I think I did about 3.5 minutes, and the iron curtain came down. I couldn't remember the rest of my jokes. I couldn't remember where the fuck I was going with the story. I'm like, what was I even talking about? Something happened, and it just went kunk, and I went, damn. So I just started looking at the audience, and I just started making fun of them. You know, that's the only thing I got. That's all I got. Like, you ugly.
You call it the iron curtain. It fell on me as soon as I grabbed the mic, so I had to regroup, and then I got started.
But you didn't get started in the same place that you thought you was going to start.
I didn't. And then, like I said, I did 7 minutes. I recorded that, so I know it was 7 minutes and so many seconds. And at right about 7 minutes, all of a sudden, I don't know what was going on because I had a great flow, and then all of a sudden, iron curtain. I didn't know what I was supposed to say.
That's what it is.
Just like that. I heard the sound, and I felt the sound of that iron gate just falling.
It's crazy.
And I was done.
That's it. And you're like, I don't know what else to do.
I think I said that too. I said, I'm kind of lost now. I had more to say.
I had more to say, but I forgot the rest of it. So have a great night. And you're bounced out. But you did it with class.
Yeah.
And it didn't like, you didn't, I don't know, there was no cringe moment. I guess you could say. Because I've seen some people bomb on stage, and then you feel that inside you.
I feel so bad.
They're on stage, but you feel it inside you.
Yeah, I feel so bad.
You're like,
for
baby,
them.
just run, baby, just run.
You know what? Let me take. We're not gonna hit pause, but I am gonna call Snoop real quick.
All right.
So she can turn on the food.
Oh, ooh.
Let's see. She's gonna be on air with us now.
Ooh,
You there?
I'm here. Are you?
Yeah, I'm here. You're on the air with us. What's up,
air.
woman? Hey, listen. Can you turn on the fish?
Okay.
200 degrees, please.
200. Just the top and the bottom heat.
Top and bottom heat 200.
Okay.
Got it? All right, Snoopy.
Half an hour?
I'll be watching the clock. I'll let you know. Okay. Yep. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
In case you're wondering, Miss Tiffany, I do most of the cooking in the house.
I know you do.
I did not marry that beautiful woman for her cooking skills.
I know you did.
Because she does the craziest, weirdest, crazy fails, mistakes, experiments in the kitchen. Oh, I can't take it. So I do most of the cooking in the house. I do.
Does she do like one of these like experiments? Like, I don't know, I don't measure. Let me just put everything
Can I tell you a story?
Oh, please.
When the first time I came to Norway to visit her, this is before we were married. We were dating.
Was this back in the 1900s?
This was in the year 2000.
Okay.
The year 2000. Yeah, it was in 2000, May of 2000. One morning, I'm hungry. She's making breakfast.
Yeah.
Eggs and toast. Simple, basic, right?
Yeah, well, for me,
Well, yeah. Well, she was taken into consideration.
Right.
I'm a power lifter now, but I was a bodybuilder then.
Okay.
So eggs, protein, all that stuff.
Chicken, all that
She
good
took she took that into consideration. I'm thinking, okay, it never even crossed my mind
Right.
that there could be any issues with eggs and toast, right?
Okay.
So we sit down. She puts the eggs in front of me. I take a bite. I'm like, that's a weird taste in these eggs. And I'm thinking, how do I describe? I'm trying to work it out in my head. What is this? What is it?
What's this
What is
flavor?
it with the eggs here? I didn't say anything to her. This is when we were dating, and I'm trying to impress her, and
Right.
trying to look
Right.
past her faults and just look at the good stuff. So I didn't say anything. So and I take another bite, and I'm like, you know what? I think I figured it out. These eggs, they taste so thin. There's no taste to them.
There was no texture to
No
it.
texture to it, no taste. It doesn't taste like anything. So I eat those eggs. Didn't say anything. Like I said, I'm still trying to impress her. I wasn't using the toilet in front of her or any of that kind of stuff yet. So I'm not going to criticize her food at that point either. So time rolls on. We get married. We're living in the States. We lived in the States for the first 18 months, 2 years before we moved here. And she makes eggs again.
Oh.
Eggs and bacon, toast, right? And this whole egg experience in Norway is out of my mind.
Right.
Not thinking about it. It was no big deal. It was just different. Tasteless eggs, right?
You tried to block it out, is what it was.
Probably tried to block it out. So we sit down and I take a bite of eggs. I'm like, where have I tasted this non-taste before? These eggs are tasteless, just like the eggs in Norway were. So now I'm thinking, okay, it's not the Norwegian chickens. It's this Norwegian woman sitting across the table from me who made this mess. So I now there's nothing to impress.
Yeah.
Now the ring is on the finger. There's nothing to impress. So I'm like, hey, Snoop, what is it with these eggs? They don't taste right. And she's like, oh, but I just made eggs. I just made the eggs. It's no big deal. I'm like, it's kind of a big deal. I like eggs and I can't put up with this. What did you do? Well, I just fried the eggs like I always do. It's like, okay, woman, what did
Show
you do?
me the process.
Like you always do. Yeah, obviously like you always do because they taste the same as they did a
always
year
do.
ago when I ate those eggs at your apartment in Norway. What did you do? She explained how when she makes eggs, she'll crack the eggs, put them in there, and then she'll put the same volume of eggs, she'll put water. She was adding water.
Like 1 part egg, 1 part water? Like
Yes.
1 to 1?
Yes.
God damn.
Yes.
God damn.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know. I still don't know why. I
Do
should
they
call her up now
do
and
they
ask her why.
scramble? Does that scramble? Does that even scramble?
It's like scrambled boiled or some scrambled / boiled. But that's what she was doing, and I had to tell her, don't do that.
That's not a thing.
Don't do that.
That's not a thing. First of all, we put milk in our eggs in the South.
So thank
Yeah.
you. And butter.
Butter.
There
All
you
the
go.
butter.
There you go.
And salt and pepper.
No, but I guess she, from, if I remember right, her explanation was that is how her father always used to make it. But see, he's passed away. God rest his soul. So he was an older guy.
But didn't he grow up when Norway was poor?
Exactly. World War II.
Right.
Up in Finnmark, up north.
Right.
I mean, they had the Germans literally in their living rooms, and you had to make things stretch. Not only did you have to stretch your dollar, you had to stretch your eggs as well.
And your potatoes
So
and
you
your
put
cabbage
water,
soup. Yeah.
So you put water in it.
Yeah.
And that's what Snoop was doing. I'm like, Snoopy, it's not World War II.
Mm-mm.
We're not up in northern Norway.
Not anymore.
There's no...
Civilization now.
This is civilization. I got you shoes to wear now. You can change your underwear every day.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't have to water the
There
eggs
you go.
down.
You don't poop in the yard anymore.
We don't poop in the
We got indoor plumbing now.
Indoor plumbing.
Indoor plumbing. No more pooping in the yard.
So that and I love her to death, but the woman can't cook.
That's all right. Hey, listen.
So
she's perfect at so much other shit that cooking is.
And like I say, she is the one who swings the hammer in this
Right.
house. If something needs fixing.
I remember the first time I was kind of, I guess you want to say, quote unquote, introduced to Snoop. but via Facebook.
Because I'm terrible against.
Yeah.
I get
But
her.
I never
I
had
get
to,
her on Facebook.
yeah, but that you were, it was the most adoring, endearing photo
Yeah.
because I didn't really know you either. I just saw this
Yeah.
big, giant,
Yeah.
muscular man, and I'm like, he's a big, tough guy. He's a big, tough guy.
Teddy
And so
bear.
you took a picture of yourself. I don't know if it was of you. I don't think you were in the picture, but Snoop was definitely outside. She got that car jacked up. She's under there
That's right.
fixing the
Changing
brakes
tires,
or
yep.
some shit.
She was changing the
She
winter
was changing
tires.
the tire in the snow. It was just dirty. And you
And what was
inside
I
the
doing?
kitchen baking muffins.
Baking pink muffins,
Pink
I said.
muffins, yeah, some kind of shit. And I was like, all right, I don't know who these people are, but I
But-
gotta get close
but I
to
like
this.
'em.
I gotta get close to this.
No, that's just the kind of relationship we have. I tease her. I tease her relentlessly.
Yeah.
She's kind of become infamous on social media because all the teasing that I do on her. But she's
Nobody knows her real name, by the way. Everybody just calls her Snoop.
And and the reason for, I don't know, I don't want to say too much the reason for it, but she's very careful about what she puts out as far as personal information
Fair
on,
enough.
and that's smart.
That's fair.
That is smart.
My boyfriend's the same way. He's actually not even on Facebook. So
You know what?
yeah.
You avoid so much foolishness
Yeah.
if you just stay off
The
social
only reason
media.
why I actually stick with social media is because I'm a foreigner, because I live in Norway, because
I've
I need
found
to have my foot in that root to feel a
Yep.
little bit of normalcy in my day.
Yep.
So I need that drama.
I think I first got on Facebook in 2012, I believe
Yeah.
it was, and that was basically to use it to promote my gyms that I owned at the time.
Right.
But in the process of that, I started getting in contact with like old friends, family
High school
members,
friends.
stuff like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, how cool.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of fell into in the beginning. And then since then, I like social media. I like Facebook for the opportunity to make somebody smile. Now, I've never been interested in I didn't do any stand up until March, but before that, I would make a conscious effort to put something funny, something that'll make people, make people smile, because there's a lot of people out there that do that for me.
Right.
You do that. I love your posts. You it's a message that just came in from Snoop. She's probably burning our salmon right now. Let me just look at that real quick.
You better check.
Because we want to eat well.
Ooh, and I do.
Oh no, she sent me a video of me. Okay, I didn't know she filmed that. She filmed my training today. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Where were you training, at the gym?
Yeah, at it's called Acropolis here in town. Great gym. Yeah, even though I messed up with my shoulder, I
You still do it.
I
which
do
is
the
good. Listen,
training
you
that
know,
I can.
You know, I have a nursing degree, and
Yeah.
I remember, like in my third year, the thing that I learned the most is that when you injure a part of your body,
Got to move
you
it.
gotta move it.
That is the worst thing that people do. And I tell you, I caught a lot of flack from people on social media because not so much the last year or so, but before that, I made it my business to film my training and post it.
Do it.
It motivated me. I would get feedback from people. I got a lot of tips on ideas towards rehab.
Right.
I was on the U.S. national team, so I wanted my powerlifting comrades comrades. We talked about socialism, and now I'm saying comrades. Oh boy,
I must break you.
I must break you. My powerlifting buddies. I wanted to keep them informed on how I was doing, so I filmed this stuff. And one of the, I got a lot of positive feedback, a lot of love, but one of the most common negative feedback things was, "Oh my gosh, you're injured. Stop. Don't train.
You're going to hurt yourself."
like,
Bullshit.
you
That is
can't
the
do that.
most opposite. But to me, I had to learn that as in nursing school.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know, because we're always taught that, if you hurt your foot, you put it up on a pillow
Yep.
and you rest it. Rest that body part. Absolutely not. In nursing school, we're like, no, you hurt it. Let's move. I like to move it. That's how I was. You got to move it. You got to keep it limber.
Yeah,
you got to
have
keep
to.
it warm.
Have to.
Yeah.
And it's also, for me, it's good mental medicine. I have to, okay, my shoulder's messed up. I can't bench. I can't train shoulders direct. I mean, I have a whole slew of physical therapy exercises I do for my
Right.
shoulder. But other than that, I can't touch that shoulder when I train. Can't
Right.
bench, can't do those kind of things. But I can squat.
Yeah.
I can deadlift. I can do a lot of different rowing movements. So I've just what do I call it? Compressed my training routine and encompass those movements that I can do. And it's actually such that even though for the last 3-4 years, I've been getting all these shoulder operations.
Right.
I am actually much stronger in squat and deadlift than I was before. I have the Norwegian squat record.
Did you shut the front door, really?
I got that as a 49-year-old.
As a 49-year-old.
And I got the Norwegian squat record.
My knees are hurting just talking about this.
No, squatting's good for your knees. Squatting's good for your knees. It is.
I agree with you. I agree. It should be, and it will be. I think
you're gonna will it.
My problem is that I broke my back, so I'm terrified.
That's right.
I'm terrified of the squats because I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. I need to have proper instruction. I think in my position of how to do it. I'm terrified. I know that I need to do core muscles. I'll do sit-ups all day long and crunches and stuff like that. And I don't know what those things are called. But when you lay on your stomach and you lift your back up and you're like lifting
bridges,
bridges,
and you
do that. So I do all that, but anything but my legs, like I'm afraid if I lean to the right, lean to the left with all that weight, I'm gonna snap some stuff.
I get that, and you should be careful.
Yeah.
What they do? Remove a disc, or did they fuse a disc?
No, they removed. I had one. Oh, listen, I'm already short. Okay, I'm already a petite woman. Little thing. I was like 5'2" whenever I went into this surgery. They what happened was I had one vertebrae that was just completely shattered. It was dust, basically. Yeah. So they sucked that one up, and then they tried to like fuse me together in a way that didn't quite work out. They wanted to. So now I'm an inch shorter. So yay. So hooray for short girls. But I can't turn the way I used to quite well. But I'm going to keep working, and I'm going to keep moving it because I think that's what's going to keep me limber.
Well, I tell you, exercise is the best medicine against an injury. The worst thing people can do is just sit still, and too many people do that. And I get it. It hurts. So your first instinct is to
leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Stop doing that.
That's the worst
Doctor,
thing.
It hurts when I move it. Then stop fucking moving it, man.
Well, but the thing is there's a lot of doctors who do say that.
Yes.
Now, I'm lucky. I'm the only one in Norway who has that type of shoulder operation that I got, the last one that I got in May.
What was it called? Do you remember what it was
called? It was a tendon transfer. They took an Achilles tendon from a cadaver.
Right.
And put that bad boy in my... I'll show you a picture of it later. It's pretty cool.
If you zombie shoulder.
Yeah,
dead people.
My thoughts are no longer my own. No, and they put that bad boy in from my lower trapezius. In towards my spine and stretched it over my shoulder blade across my lower trapezius and connected it in the front of my deltoid.
Right. I got a question on how that works because like you're a big man. Yeah. So they had to find a specific one that would fit you, your body.
Yeah, there was a little bit. Yeah, there was a little bit of logistic that had to go into that
tailor-made situation going on.
Well, but having said that, they did have to find a specific type, and I think they had to take in blood type into consideration.
All kinds of stuff.
But having said that, the Achilles tendon is the strongest tendon in the body.
It's amazingly strong and amazingly elastic.
Yeah, when people tear an Achilles, they're not tearing. How do I explain this without video? See, I need to start filming this. When they tear an Achilles tendon, they tear it where the tendon connects to the bone or muscle. They're not tearing it in the mid part, because it's so strong. It's just not going to tear there.
It doesn't tear there. You have to cut it. You have to physically cut it.
So thinking about that, I'm good to go. The problem is what we're struggling with now is to get some life in it. I can't control it.
Are you missing cartilage? Is that what it is, or is it just
some cartilage has been taken out before?
Right. Okay.
What started all these problems with my shoulder was my collarbone. If you can picture your collarbone, it's supposed to go pretty much straight out.
Right.
From your neck and then straight out. Mine forms a C, like a cup at the end. So that all movement, because people say, oh, well, see, you shouldn't power lift so much. No, that's not the problem. The problem is that collarbone, the AC, the acromion, it's called, the acromion, is in a C form, so that all of my movements from the day I was born up until whenever has been scraping and gnawing away on
bone against bone.
So that my, in the end,
you eroded it.
In 2015, my supraspinatus tendon. That's the tendon that goes across the top. Yeah. That one went. They fixed it and went again. And then in 2017, my infraspinatus went. That's the one that wraps around from your lats and wraps around to the front. And then my supraspinatus went again, and then the infraspinatus went. So I've had so many tears. Now it got to the point, there's nothing to repair. It's gone.
It's gone, yeah.
But then with that, I lost the ability. I don't have the ability right now to raise my left hand up over my head. All inward, outward rotation is gone. So I'm pretty much lame in my left arm. So now they put that Achilles tendon in there, and the challenge is to get life into it. It's a foreign body part. Right. So the neurological, I almost said nevrologic.
Nevrologisk.
That's Norwegian, people. That's 2 languages, y'all. The neurological signals aren't getting from my brain.
They're not talking to each other.
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
it is. It's a foreign language happening right now. They have to understand
my
each
brain
other.
is American. This Achilles tendon is probably Norwegian. So they're not communicating.
Antisocial Norwegian.
Yeah,
too, probably.
No, so that's the challenge right now, and we're talking 3-4 days a week into Oslo. It's 45-minute drive. Yeah. Sometimes 2 sessions a day. Sometimes 3 sessions a day with physical therapy.
And you've been doing that for how long?
Wow. I was operated in May.
It's been almost
and
a
I
year.
got, I was operated in May, and then I had to sit and do nothing, and I got cleared for physical therapy in, was it November?
Okay.
2019?
Okay.
So I haven't been doing the physical therapy that long, and
you
I don't feel any different.
No.
It's, but they're saying if I get better, it's going to take a year, 18 months before I can even think about lifting my arm over my head or anything like that. So I got a long road to go.
Yeah, it's
tough,
physical therapy is
tough.
a long way. Yeah,
you are. I'm in there.
Yeah, you are. I've been in physical therapy since I was when the war happened, 2002.
That's when you hurt your back?
Yeah. The first time. Yeah, the first time was in Afghanistan. So we had an IED go off and.
That's right. You have a military background.
I got a military
We haven't
background.
talked about that.
Yeah. So I messed up my back then, and then back then they had this this experimental treatment called Vax-D. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but Vax-D was. The way I broke my back the first time was I guess I busted a disc and it popped out. So their idea was the back is kind of like a slinky, and if you pull it apart, it was sucked back in. So what they did was they put us down, like you remember the rack from the medieval times?
Yes.
The torture device? Yep. They put you on this bed and the bed splits apart. And then they try to suck your disc back in, and it doesn't quite work the way they want it to. It was kind of painful.
Oh, that just makes me cringe just thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, got time.
I'm going to call Snoop and tell her to
pull that fish out.
Yeah. Actually, we've been talking almost 2 hours.
Have we really?
Now, my first episode with Bob Eknamati, we talked about an hour and 25 minutes, maybe
I
hour
can talk all
and a
day
half.
with you.
Well, this is fun. But I don't know how to explain it, but I don't want to be superficial and say that I liked you and thought you were cool just because of your social media presence. But I did, because that's all I knew. But you have a way of putting your personality. When I met you face to face for the first time in March at my show, the way you sounded, the way you moved, your mannerisms was exactly what I pictured it.
Good.
That's based only on what you put out on social media. That's it.
Because I am myself on social media, and actually, I think on
you are
social
so
media,
unfiltered. You are you. There.
I am we because I think because I can't be me here in Norway because my Americanness or my Tiffanyness.
So that's your outlet.
It's too much for people here. So I'm kind of closed off here in Norway. I don't go to the Yule board. I don't hang out with these people.
I can't do that either.
I ain't fucking around with them. I go home and hang out. But on social media, then I'm Tiffy. The Tiffiness comes out.
I can't do that. Those Christmas parties, or Yule board as they call it. Good Lord, the decadence that goes on there.
The mess. It's a hot mess.
And it's just
It's a dumpster fire, every single one of them.
It
And
is.
I cannot, and not only that, but I don't know how many you've been to.
Two.
But I
can't do any more than
All
that.
right, that's enough.
I tried it twice.
That's enough to understand that they play the exact same soundtrack. I don't know if it goes through the whole, if there's a pipeline that you have to play Plumbo, and then you got to play that Pinna for Him, the doll, Pinna, all the same fucking after sheet music. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's the same soundtrack and it's the same conversations. It feels like Groundhog Day. That's what me and my boyfriend talk about. Okay, I'm gonna be hating a little bit, but we talk about, we call certain of May, the 17th of May, their Independence Day. That's Groundhog Day for us.
Okay,
and ours
it's
the same shit over and over again. Everybody dresses up in the same hot ass wool clothes. They go out and eat the hot dog and the ice cream.
I would like to admit something. For me, the 17th of May celebration, the Independence Day celebration here is the worst experience of the year for me.
It's the worst.
Now last year I didn't go because of the shoulder operation,
right.
So I sat at home.
So you had an excuse.
I had an excuse. And a couple other years I've had reasons to not go, but the times that I've had to go, and you first of all, I have to put on a suit, and that's just
we
not
don't do
me.
that for the 4th of July. 4th of July is shorts and flip flops and barbecue.
A suit and them stupid
and
dress
the police
shoes.
come in at your because you set something on fire. That's how independence is supposed to work.
Thank you.
Yes, there's supposed to be crime and fire and somebody getting drunk and falling in the pool. That's how it works.
I guess the formality of their May 17th thing is what kills it for me. To have to get dressed up and put on them stupid shoes and then follow the parade. Not so much now because my kids are older, but when they were little, you kind of had to follow their class
had to.
and then walk
in there, and then you had to sell the fucking waffles and the hot dog and the ice
cream. I didn't do
cream
that. I didn't get into that.
And the bullshit.
That I just refused to do. All that stuff afterwards when they would gather at the school and the games and stuff. That I have never been.
Well, I'm a single mom. You know what I mean. So I got to do this bullshit, and I do, and I run through it, and I smile, but I'm hating every second of it because I'm like, do you put
a smile on there to kind of get through it so you don't embarrass your kid? Is that what it is?
Let me tell you something. I put one time, and I'm not gonna lie. I put Vaseline on the top row of my teeth. Right there, so I could keep smiling because I was in such a piss ass mood. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was on my period. I was cramping. I wasn't having it, and I was sick of these motherfuckers coming up. I was sick of it because they were always asking me about, especially on the certain of May, if you're an immigrant and you dare to dress in the bunad. Yep. Then they kind of want to why you wearing the bunad? But then you're an immigrant and you don't wear the bunad. You got to dress up a little bit. But I went with my fucking flip flops and shorts.
I love it.
Shit.
Flip flops and shorts.
Flip flops.
That's Florida. That's Florida.
I'm I'm celebrating my independence.
I love it. Independent from all Norwegian celebrations.
This crap. But I talk a lot of shit about the Norwegians, but I do love them, and I do love this country, and I do have
some good friends here. I really do. A lot of them are in the music environment. Mm-hmm. I love them. My best friend is a Norwegian, Hege, the one who introduced me to my wife. So I can't, I joke. I joke a lot about good Lord,
Wait, here is what is it they say? Joke them if they can't take a fuck, right? So if they can't take a joke, you should be able to have a little bit of insight in yourself and say, we do that because that's what makes comedy fun. Yeah. Being able to look at your own cultural background, being able to judge yourself.
And I am brutal against them, but hats off to them because they do take it with us. In fact, they some of my best lines are when I'm going against them. So. And that's based on their own applause that they're giving. So they do take it. They do take it. But I think people, if you pay your 200 kroners or whatever you pay, 200 on a good night for me, and you sit down there and you're expecting comedy, you kind of have to put up with whatever is said on that microphone. You asked for it. And I don't get this cancel culture back in the States. To be honest, I don't know how that is affecting things here in Norway, but back in the States, this cancel culture where they're trying to cancel comics. What is that guy's name? Ari Sharif.
Oh, he's so funny.
Who said, I love the guy. And he said he has this thing where if a celebrity dies, he'll put out a tweet just brutal about
who he is,
about whoever died. And he did that to Kobe Bryant.
And somebody flipped out.
A lot of people flipped out, and he lost his, was it was it Comedy Central or was it Netflix? I think it was Netflix.
Wow.
That he lost his
whole
special.
contract.
Lost his special, and I
because he said something about Kobe.
Yeah.
See, here's the whole thing. I understand. I'm with you on the whole cancel culture. There are certain things that you should be able to joke about and make it a little bit light, because when the heavy comes, it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's so heavy. You need a little bit of levity. But it's there are some comics that take it too far, and I'll agree with that. But there should be this.
But what's too far? I don't think anything. I don't think anything is too far.
There are some things that I think it depends on the timing. The timing can take it too far, but Kobe, he should be free game. And I think taking it for too far is like when children get killed, and then you joke about that. I think that then you can't joke about the children. You know what I mean? There is a limit to me, anyway. For me, if there was like a school shooting and somebody jokes
I tell you,
about it,
I couldn't do a joke or a bit about a school shooting.
No,
but I can't. But I won't blame. Actually, I say hats off to someone who dares to do it.
Anthony Jeselnik is a great comedian.
He's brutal.
He's hard. And there are sometimes that even I have to look away and go, God damn, dude.
But isn't that art? Yeah, but isn't that good art?
That's the art, because art is supposed to provoke a feeling. It's supposed to provoke an emotion. Yeah. If you're sitting there and you're not absolutely appalled, if you're not laughing, then they're not doing their goddamn job.
But that's why I said, I wouldn't dare to make a joke about a school shooting or
my balls aren't that big. I just can't do it.
Mine aren't either. Yeah. But for someone who does do it, even if I don't think it's funny, I say hats off to you,
man.
You're a bad son of a gun. Good for you. Yeah.
Anthony Jeselnik, I take my hats off to him. Oh God, who is that? The Queen of Mean.
Oh yeah, Lisa Lampanelli. One of my favorites.
She will sit there and she will just talk about how she takes black dick and she loves it and just flings it around.
Awesome.
She's amazing, and she doesn't give a shit.
She doesn't care. No.
And I think that's what is her draw.
I have seen her work a crowd from the Asians to the blacks to the Hispanics. She does not care. And the thing is everybody sitting in that audience is prepared. They know what they're going to get, and they love it. Yeah. Nobody's offended there.
Nobody's offended there. Unless it was the first time. Hi, have we met? Right. She's amazing.
I don't think she's doing too much anymore. I don't want to say that. She probably is still working, but she's not doing anything.
Still working. I don't know her personally, but I kind of like. I was a roaster. That was my stand-up comedy. I did mean comedy. I just roasted people. I would do roast battles. I was a roast master several times.
You kind of looked up to her then?
I looked up to her because she would go to the throat, grab it, and kind of like, I don't know if you ever seen these old Star Trek movies where they just kind of like poke them in the throat. They fall down. It's just a quick poke, but but it was enough. It was enough. They didn't break a knuckle. There's no blood.
It looked
she
effortless,
just poke them and down. And oh God, I looked up to her for that, because she would get even the hecklers in the audience. She would just kneecap them.
She is another level. She has another level of intelligence, because I say it takes brain power to work a crowd the way she does. That stuff isn't planned. She's just coming up with it right then and there, and that's brain power. That's brain power right there.
Amazing. She's got the quickest wit. It's amazing.
So who out there do you think is really killing it these days? Who do you
comedy wise?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle is. I think that man. I think he can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Everything, every stand-up comedy he does, every special he does.
It seems like he takes it another step every time he releases something.
I think the one special where he talked about this, he talked maybe a half hour about this book that was written by an old pimp. And he just talked about. Did you see that special?
Yeah.
And I was enthralled that whole story, and I didn't realize that a half hour had gone past, because he was telling the story, and then you didn't realize that there was a punchline a half hour later. He did that callback a half hour later and pulled that joke through, and I was like, "That's mastery."
I tell you, his comedy seems effortless. It just seems like it's just flowing out of him. And of course, he practices, he rehearses, and he writes, but it doesn't seem like it. It seems like he's just up there talking spur of the moment.
Yeah.
I really dig him. I dig Bill Burr.
Oh, Bill Burr's great.
He's brutal.
He's mean as shit too. They
Bill,
worked together though. Did you
yes,
know
they
that?
did. Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
they
Bill
did.
was on his sketch show.
Yes,
yeah.
he was. He was the white guy.
and I don't know how
Token
much
white guy.
controversy I'm going to raise up now, but I love Louis C.K.
I love Louis C.K. too.
I think it's great
He's
that
an
he's
asshole.
out there.
He did some stupid shit,
Yeah,
but you know
he
what?
did,
We're
but
not
let's
perfect.
forgive the guy. You know, just because he did that, does that mean he should never work again? Some people say yes, but I say that
It doesn't
guy.
mean he should never work again, but it does mean that people need to keep a goddamn eye on his employment status.
Sure,
Let me tell you
sure,
something, because if
sure.
I started working with an employer that
Sure,
started doing what he
absolutely.
did, I mean,
Absolutely.
it should be smacked down.
Absolutely.
But his art shouldn't be smudged, and it's the same thing. Like I
think
have the
it's-
same feeling with Michael Jackson, man. That boy, maybe he did some crazy shit, but the
Maybe,
art,
maybe.
I can separate the art
Yeah,
from the person.
I can too. I
Because
can
Louis
as well.
C.K. as a person, I mean, if he
I
was sitting here,
wouldn't-
I'd probably smack him in the face for being a dick.
I
But
wouldn't want Louis to babysit, my 14-year-old daughter.
Or
I would have
Michael
some. I would have some, or definitely not Michael. Well, my daughter, yes, not my son. Da-dunk. No, but Louis is I don't know. I think he's the king. He's in the shadows now. He's in the gutter because of what happened, but I think he's climbing out.
He'll climb. I mean,
I think he's going to have a special before anybody can protest too much about it. All of a sudden, it's just going to be there.
Yeah.
I like the guy.
I don't know if I like the guy. I like his art. I like his art. I like his comedy.
Let me take that back. Yeah, I like his art.
I like
I don't
his art.
know
I don't know the guy.
I don't know the guy,
Oh,
but I
don't know
like
the
his
guy.
art.
He
Did
seems
you-
like a scumbag. But
did you ever watch? Yeah, but you know what? You know what I read somewhere? Someone said, yeah, he seems like a scumbag, but he's a lovable scumbag. Is there such a thing? I don't
there
know.
is, because that's like basically half my friends. You know, like half my friends are lovable
Scumbags, but I love 'em.
Yeah, you're like, I bailed him out of prison, but he tells good jokes, so you know.
Did you ever see Louis' television show? It was just called Louis.
Louis, yeah, I did. I did.
As much as I love his, excuse me, as much as I love his stand-up, I like that television show. I think that was more of a pure display of his comedy.
Yeah.
I think that television show was.
He was telling a story in that show.
I think he was telling a beautifully
beautiful story.
tragic, dark, funny story.
But here,
I think it was all those things.
Let's talk about that dark tragedy thing
Yeah.
for a minute about comedians. I don't think I've ever met, once I really get to know, and I don't know you well yet, but once we get to know each other, something tells me that there's some kind of trauma in your life somewhere back then. Because there is no comedian I have ever met that didn't have some tragic background story to the reason why they're funny now. There's a reason.
And I can tell you what, my son died, heroin overdose, died on the 5th of November.
Recent.
Very recent. And good Lord, does it hurt.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, thank you. You know, he unfortunately he made those decisions. He wouldn't accept some help that I tried to give him, and now he's gone. So there's a very recent and a very current, that trauma can be applied to my everyday life at this point.
Yeah.
But what's getting me through it is music. Nobody has heard too much of that yet. I've just released a few singles, but when the album comes, you'll see that it's reflected there. Yeah. But what people can currently see it reflecting is my stand-up. I have a little bit where I actually, talking about taking it a step too far. My ex-wife, his mother, if she ever heard the bit that I do about my son and the fact that he died from an overdose, but I have a bit that I do in my act right now. Yeah.
You know what? That's
therapy for me.
It's cathartic.
Absolutely, it is. So there's the darkness. I'm living through a dark period right now. But what gets me out of it is performing my art. Whether it's writing music or performing music or doing stand-up. Right. Or things like this podcast. I have really looked forward to having you. Just the idea of sitting down talking to you, like, good Lord, it's been over 2 hours now.
It's been so much
fun. That has lifted me above that depression. The depression is there.
It's always
but I've just the idea of having you on this podcast, it's lifted me out of that. So
it's great.
But it's art.
Yeah, it is, and it does. It through your art, you can kind of release that pain in a way that, like, you've had tragedy with your son, but I'm sure you've had it before that.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you've had it before that. And
My
comedians
share of it, yeah.
deal with it in a different way. Like we don't like being in that darkness. We have to have some levity. So we will take the hardest moments of our life. I mean, I used to have some really like horrible jokes about, abuse, but really bring it out in a funny way, in a way that if anybody else in the audience has experienced that, first of all, you're telling him you're not alone.
Yeah.
Second, I don't want to say this, it's not as bad as it could be, but because you're not alone, it's not that bad. And reach out to me.
Yep.
And we'll have a talk after the show kind of thing. But I've been there, and let's bring it a little bit to life and let's joke about it. It's not funny.
What got you into, you know what, let me call Snoop and have her check that fish. But I want to ask you what got you interested in comedy? But give me 1 second. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you call her.
Gonna call her. Put her on there.
Put it on the.
Hello?
Who's this?
Don't you know who you called?
You sounded like Savannah. Okay. Yeah. I kind of forgot about the time. Is that fish still going?
Yeah, but you said you were going to watch it, so I haven't watched it.
Am I going to have to order pizza for Miss Tiffany? Did it burn up?
I don't know.
I don't know. Can you just look at it? If the bacon is brown and crispy, then everything should be done.
Okay. You want me to look right now?
Yeah, do that. Let's do that. You're on the air.
You're on the air.
Let's let everybody know. See, you should have felt my. We've been together so long. You should feel my.
Hold on now.
His on the air voice.
It looks alright. It looks
Does it look like fish?
I don't know. It looks like bacon.
Is the bacon? Does it look crispy?
Sizzling.
Is it sizzling?
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up soon, and then we'll come in. Let it.
But what do you want me to do? Just leave it here?
Turn the heat down to 125, please. Okay.
All right.
We'll be out in a minute.
Yeah. Love you, Snoop.
Yeah, I gotta feed you while you're here. So
Yes,
it's either gonna be fish or I'm gonna have to order pizza if it's burnt up. But I did tell her I would watch the time, and I see that was an hour ago.
That was an hour ago. I've been having so much fun.
Oh my God.
This is a good idea.
I tell you, talking about working through trauma, working through depression, all that stuff. The death of my son. It sounds weird to say that I'm pulling some good out of that, but one thing that happened was I got motivated to grab a hold of a couple of artistic, creative things that I want to do, and one of them was this podcast. This is something I've been wanting to do for quite some time. Yeah. I've also been wanting to do a mini comedy tour with one or two other comics, and now I'm doing that with. I'm going to do that with Bobek.
That's what
life is too short. My son left, and there was so much undone. There's so much that was left undone
for him.
Yeah, and we were in the middle of working on our relationship and getting closer. I was working on putting some things into place to maybe get him out here on a student visa, and boom, he's gone.
That's it.
Gone. Because he had been an addict for quite some time without me knowing.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It was only about a year ago, or how do I say it, about a year before he died.
That you knew? That
I found out about that. It just, but he'd been an addict since he was 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
That shit is hard. It's a hard life.
In the distance, of me not being there was that kind of changed my feelings about being here in Norway.
The way you're saying it, I can hear that you're blaming yourself a little bit. Like I wasn't there and I should have done something.
Okay, I guess I didn't catch that. But you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
I'm hearing a tone in your voice. You're blaming yourself a little bit for the decisions that he made and stuff like that.
Well, I'll say this.
Yeah.
I blame myself for not being there.
Right.
Or I blame that situation because I know if I would have been there, I think things would have turned out a lot different for him.
Yeah,
maybe. But I do say that he made his own decisions. Right. As I alluded to, he had a golden opportunity that I laid out there for him to get him away from that environment and get him over here, and he chose not to do that.
There you go.
That's his responsibility. I'll stop short of saying that I blame him. Blame is a hard word to put on an addict.
There's no blame.
Because when you're an addict, that is ruling your life. It's ruling your life.
It is.
So he wasn't in a state of mind. He wasn't in a state of existence so he could have made the right decision
No, he wasn't.
and come here and
No.
take advantage of the
He wasn't.
opportunity.
He was
to get out of that.
unprepared.
Totally.
And things went the wrong way. He did the best he could. Let's
Yeah.
just say that he did the best he could with what he had,
Yeah.
and he made the decisions that he thought was best for him at the time. But sometimes things are just really fucking hard,
Sometimes they are.
and choices are really fucking hard.
And this is a difficult time. But at the same time, as I acknowledge the difficulty in life at this moment, I am feeling this weird mix of newfound freedom.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah,
Finally.
right.
I'm about to release an album. Finally. I'm
Right.
focusing on stand-up. Finally.
Yeah.
It's
It was a kick in the ass for you. I guess.
absolutely. I think it was
And
a
I
kick in the
think you-
nuts. Actually,
Yeah, there you go.
I've been
Kick in
kicked
the
in the
tits.
I've been kicked in the ass before, and it hasn't really done the
No,
job.
I've been kicked in the tits, and it does it. So maybe you got kicked in the tits.
But let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
But let me ask you: is there anything that you're doing that you want to promote? Now I know you have a little of some limitations because of this crazy
Crazy
psycho.
lunatic.
He's
yeah.
locked up, but you don't know who's out there.
He's locked up. I know he's got his little boys out there
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah, I
Anything
do
you want
do
to
art.
promote? Because you are, and what an artist you are. Is there any place people can go to?
Sadly, really not anymore. I used to have a Facebook page, an artist page that I
Right,
used to
you had
promote.
to shut that down.
And I even had a web page at some
Yeah.
point, tiffanytrautman.com. I had to shut that down because
Could we do this? How about if you send me some of the photos that you have on Messenger.
Okay,
Send it on my private Messenger.
right.
And then I'll repost it on my artist page when this episode of the podcast comes out.
Okay, yeah, because that's how I do it now. The only way I get any quote unquote business for my art is just word of mouth. It's from
Well-
somebody going, oh, Tiffany made this painting for me. Look in my house, and then their cousin was like, oh, cool, I want one. And
Well, this is
That's how it
a
goes.
brand new podcast. This is the third episode, and I actually haven't even posted any of the episodes yet. But I'm going to. The first episode should be available Monday, tomorrow,
oh, cool.
if things go
If
right.
things-
I'm so technically dumb that I don't know that I'll be able to upload it. To
Right.
the right. But anyway, I don't know how many people are going to be listening from the get-go, but eventually I'm hoping for some listeners, and I want to help you get the recognition that you deserve for your art.
I
So
appreciate that.
if you want to send me some things on Messenger, and then I'll repost it on my artist
yeah.
page.
I
with
just
this-
made this great painting. I think it's one of my favorites of Malcolm X. I don't know if you saw.
I saw that. Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes.
I thought that was just
Fantastic.
It was just such a fun painting to do, and it was so serious and so dark. And I used the blues and the blacks, and it went down to this homey feeling. And I don't get to do that very often with a real guttural fucking art.
So if I post some of your some of your drawings and paintings on my artist page,
Right.
and then people want to get in touch with you to order something or to have
You
to
can
hire
tag
you
me.
in,
You can tag me
and
in
then
your
they can
art.
contact you.
And then they
Okay.
can contact me
I'll do
through
that.
a private message or say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm friend of John's and I
I'll
saw
do
your
that.
work and hey,
Well, I want to do that for you, and that's just because I totally appreciate your art. I
Appreciate
think
that.
you're just good. I'm not even going to try and describe your art. People will see it. You send me whatever you want to send me. I'll repost it, and people see it. I'll post it on my Twitter. I'll post it on my artist page on Facebook,
appreciate
and I'll
that.
post it on Instagram
Yeah,
on my artist
just
page.
for the record, I paint realism, so I don't paint like it's not the abstract, splotches of art on the wall that
Yeah,
you're supposed to
yeah.
scratch your head and wonder what the existential meaning of it is. It's what I see. It's a plain visual
Yeah.
of realism.
But what a vision this lady has, people! I'm telling you, your paintings are beautiful. It's
Thank
just
you.
I love it.
I
love it.
appreciate that. I appreciate it.
love
I've had so much fun on this podcast.
Miss Tiffany, you are a badass little lady, and I am so happy that you did this. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too,
You're just
And
awesome.
I'm so ready for this food, though. Let's ask Snoop
Let's go
what's
see if
going
that
on.
fish is if it, slightly blackened.
Cajun.
It might be pizza. But
It
hey,
might be
we'll let you
Domino's.
guys know. Thanks everybody for listening to myself, your host John Allen, my guest Miss Tiffany Trautman, and this has been the Coming Home podcast with John Allen.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Yes, I am. Yes, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Yes, I am, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Lord, I'm coming home.